So, Tessa, usually on the podcast, we start really, really high energy because I've just drank like a shitload of coffee. This week, I think it might be different because I drank a shitload of coffee
yesterday,
but I'm not feeling it yet. Like I got the coffee, I got the ibuprofen, I got the ramen. It's all inside of me. It's all taking care of this hangover. But I think it's going to take a little while for my brain to go from like The Mist to just... What's the movie where people see things very clearly? Limitless.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Limitless.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody. Welcome back. It is time, once again, for the world-famous RageSelect podcast right here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
I'm Tessa.
Hey, Tessa.
I'm back.
Yeah, welcome back to the podcast.
Back again. Tessa's back.
It's been a little bit.
Friend.
Yeah. And we got a lot of crazy stuff this week. We got a lot of weird news. And it's interesting because we are like 2 weeks away from Summer Games Fest, which is like the big E3 replacement.
Is this like the Olympics?
Well, it used to be that every year in July, right? There was this big convention in LA where they showed everything off, and then they shut that down because it was stupid and they couldn't keep it going. But then Jeff Keighley, who knows everybody in the video game industry, was like, well, then screw you guys. I'm going to put on my own E3.
Yeah.
And so that's happening.
With hookers and blackjack.
Exactly. So, yeah. So I'm not looking forward to it, I'll say. It's exciting because there are a lot of announcements. However, it requires me to do like 4 podcasts because
Doesn't he know that you already have 3? God.
Yeah. So I'm not looking forward to that, but that's in the future. That's a problem for future Jeff. That's his problem.
You're
guy.
such an asshole to future Jeff.
Future Jeff, he can suck it. Present Jeff has a podcast to do. So, but before we get into the podcast, I watched a bunch of weird movies and TV shows last week.
Yeah, such as?
Let's see. I have this problem where every week I try to watch something to put in the thumbnail of the podcast, but so many things I watch are just like, that was fine.
Yeah,
that was fine.
Perfectly acceptable.
Like I watched the Love, Death, and Robots, the new season of that, and there were like 3, I think, that were like really big thumbs up, and a lot of the other ones, it was like, this is okay.
I thought it was very strange. They had basically a Red Hot Chili Peppers music video that did not feature love, death, or robots. Well, maybe a death, but I'm not sure, depending on the way that world works. But it just felt like a
music video. It
was a really cool music video. It was definitely one that spoke to me because it was like puppets. They were like little marionettes. With strings. It was really cool. But none of that really seemed super sci-fi to me. Very fantastical, sure, but it just didn't seem... As someone that used to be a programmer for a sci-fi film festival, I would say that short film was genre, but not hard sci-fi.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like Secret Level where there was, with that, it's become more of a smorgasbord where there's ups and downs, but
it should have just been on MTV if they still did music videos.
Absolutely. But what I did watch that is worth talking about is I watched probably the most disgusting horror movie I've ever seen in my life.
Wait. Let me guess. What year is it from?
It came out last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
Was it called Let Her Go or what's
No. It wasn't on. It was. I don't go to theater. I don't leave the house. That would require me to leave the house and go to a movie theater.
It came out last week and it's disgusting.
on VOD last week. I think it might have been in theaters for. I don't know if it had a limited run or whatever. But
okay, lay it on me. What is it?
It's called The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, I think I heard about this.
It's basically a body horror movie.
She mangle her feet to fit into a shoe. That's the original fairy tale.
At some point, yes, but it's way worse than that because it's like one of the stepsisters. It's Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
And one of the stepsisters wants to go to the ball and she's in love with the prince because she's got his like fairy tale book, and she's kind of a little homely. Of course, everybody is played by a Hollywood actress,
sure.
So this is one of those things where it's like, look how disgusting this woman is, and I'm like, woman's like 2 notches above me at the quote unquote disgusting phase. Like, take a shower and you'll be fine. But the thing is that it gets into this like, it reminded me not in like more in theme of like the substance where it's like this person in like 18th century France that is doing these like barbaric beauty treatments to themselves, like just kind of mutilating themselves to try to become quote unquote pretty enough to go to the ball and do stuff.
Let's not even get into the whole, like, I'm sure the body horror gets into, like, back then they weren't great with like antibiotics and like things not getting infected.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had to look it up because in the beginning the character has braces on. And I was like, when were braces invented? Apparently braces were invented in like 1800s France or something.
Braces on your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, not like neck or leg braces. Just checking.
But there's a lot of like, and the thing is that, okay, so when I watch Terrifier, right? Terrifier is a disgusting movie with
I'm not a fan
ultra violence. But the thing is that it's almost cartoonish how ultra violent it is. In here, it's like there are no magical clown demons. It's just this poor woman who is desperate for like love and affection from this fucked up family that is letting like doctors and estheticians and fucking her her mother and like all these people do horrible shit to her body in order to try to become quote unquote pretty.
Oh boy.
And so it was just, and then on top of that, I don't know about you, Tessa, but I can watch Terrifier all day long. But if I'm watching a TV show and it gets into like that super cringe, awkward dialogue, I hide my face, like a really awkward situation. Like that makes me squirm in my chair way more than watching somebody get their arm sawed off, like, or their head explode or something like that.
Yeah. No, you feel cringe for them whenever it's just like, oh, this is an awkward exchange. Please make it stop.
Yes.
But they could be getting beheaded all day long with realistic blood spray, and I'm fine.
Right.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So it was basically a combination of that, which made it like I kept stopping and being like, I need to take a break from this for like 10 minutes, which isn't, I normally don't.
Where can I watch this?
It's on Shudder right now.
Oh, okay. I need to get my Shudder account reactivated, I guess.
And it was like, I don't know. It may not be the sort of thing that everybody's going to have the same reaction to. But the thing is that it did provoke a reaction in me. And like there was another movie that I watched that was called Grafted. It was from last year. It was like a kind of a What If Face Off was a weird teen horror movie thing.
I haven't heard of that one either, Jeff.
And that one had a lot of also kind of body horror stuff in it. But this one was just way worse. Also, it helps that they managed to really catch this like Victorian era, everything is dark, everything is dirty, everyone is gross, like
the production quality looks good. Jeff is showing me the trailer right now. For those of you, in this audio medium. Oh God. Anyways, it looks like she's having a no good bad time. Breaking bones in her face to get her nose to look right. But the production, the costuming and everything looks good.
Yep. Definitely not for the squeamish. If you don't like, especially if you don't like inside the body stuff, like there's a lot going on, and it's a very bad, no good time for everyone.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
So but it's on Shudder right now, and it's interesting, and it's an interesting take on, like, I don't know, we see so many of these, like it's a brand new take on the Cinderella story. And it's like, this is the most disgusting take on a fairy tale I've ever seen in my entire life. Like,
I mean, a lot of those original fairy tales weren't quite as prim and proper and polished as Disney kind of portrays them. Like I said in the original, like I think like they mangled their feet to get them to trying to fit in that shoe.
I looked at that up, and apparently that was like what the Brothers Grimm like rewrote. Because it was like originally a folk tale, and then they rewrote it in their style, which had a lot more mutilation to it than the original.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why we say that. Oh, that sounds grim, and that's why.
Anyway, so if you're not of the squeamish variety, go check it out. Tess, how about you? Did you watch anything good? Play anything good? Do anything good last week that we would tell people about?
Oh gosh, let's see. I watched the anime. The first couple episodes of Lazarus, which is supposed to be by the same folks that did Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, Shinichiro Watanabe.
It was okay. It didn't quite grab me initially. All the main characters, I didn't really warm up to them right away. I don't know. I'll see how it goes, but it's not. I don't know. I'm not in love with it.
It was on my anime watch list, and this week I took it off. I was like, the thing is that it's such a direct parallel to Cowboy Bebop, and that you've got this kind of freewheeling parkour kung fu guy, and then you've got this kind of stoic, black man, and you've kind of got this bombshell woman and a hacker, and it's like, except that every episode is only in service of this meta narrative, whereas in Cowboy Bebop there was like a meta narrative, but it wasn't always there. Sometimes it was just a weird blaxploitation episode.
Or it was just like a heist of the week, which is very fun and engaging. And like, if you're kind of like, if the meta, the overall story arc, you're kind of like, whatever. But, like all these little tiny side stories that are microcosm of this world is more engaging than that. That's kind of what I'm here for as far as that goes. Like heist of the week, super fun. That's one of the reasons I liked Firefly so much. So.
Sure. Also, I think, if I remember correctly, they brought back Yoko Kanno to do the score on this one, who did the score for Bebop, and I just wasn't feeling these tracks on the soundtrack. They didn't hit as hard as like those Yoko Kanno tracks. I'll just fucking go listen to them. Like I was watching it and I found myself being like, am I bored? And then I brought up and I watched the just the second half of what was it called? It was like, you remember the episode? It was like episode 3 or 4 of Cowboy Bebop when they've got the eco-terrorists and they're in the slipstream and they're like trying to like kill this missile before it hits this planet, turns everyone into monkeys, and they've just got the soundtrack that's it's so great. And I just went back and I watched it and I was like, yeah, man, this is thrilling. And what I just watched was like
boring.
It might work. It may be a thing where it's like having his name on it raised my expectations, even though I've been hit or miss with like Samurai Champloo is good. It's just not, if I was going to watch, I would watch Bebop, not that. But then I really liked Carolyn and Tuesday a few years back, which was it's like two girls trying to start a band.
I haven't watched that one yet. I think you told me I needed to, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So I watched that, and then like we mentioned, I watched the new Love, Death, and Robots. I think out of that one, so the mini one is really fun and silly.
Oh yeah,
like the
tilt shift one,
the little miniature one. Yeah.
But then wasn't that was just like a redux of one they did a couple seasons back that was zombies instead of aliens.
Yeah. So there was kind of something that we'd seen before, but a different topic, I suppose.
I liked the 400 boys.
Sorry.
I liked that one.
That style is great.
I think that's the same one who did the blue, the
big giant whales on that one ice planet.
No, it was in the first season. It was the guy that made the giant blue like paintings that were so big that you could they were like planet sized, and then it turns out that, spoiler alert for season 1 of Love, Death, and Robots, like that he was like a pool cleaning robot that had been built up into a man, and like that was the color of the blue in the pool that he used to clean, and at the end he like sheds all of his humanity and goes back into the pool and becomes the pool cleaning robot. I think it's the same artist. It looks very similar, but I liked the For He Can Creep. I liked how Zeke got religion.
Yeah, that one was really intense. How Zeke got religion. That one was real spooky-ler.
Yeah.
That felt like that would be in like the world of like Hellboy or something.
Yeah. I didn't like the Golgotha. That was barely.
Which one was that?
That was the one with the live action guy with the squid person. And
that's who got Reese Darby.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, I think I fucked up.
And then like there were two of these, the Spider Rose and the Screaming of the Tyrannosaur were both one of those ones. I have a problem a lot of times with those where it's like, this is too little of this world. Like you've intimated it's something much more interesting, but what you've decided to focus on, I'm like, yeah, but like tuck that away and make a whole series out of that, or leave it alone.
That might be what they're going for. Like, maybe people will want more, and then that can be a jumping off point for some of those segments to have their own series.
I mean, the whole thing was like 2 hours and 15 minutes, so it wasn't it was like watching a movie. So
yeah, I just kind of binged them all like in a day. I started and then stopped for a bit, did some chores, and watched the rest. Yeah, it was a good time.
What, I'm assuming the other large thing was also that was the one with the cat and the home robot. That was pretty fun.
I'm starting to sense that the people that do Love, Death, and Robots really like cats.
Yes, yeah. Between that and For He Can Creep, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's jump into the news. We got a couple of kind of big stories to start out with. The first being that Bungie has put their foot in it yet again. So
yet again, what did they do?
Yet
before?
again. Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. So let's go over. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this together. Okay. No, you know what? Let's go over that part now.
Okay. So what did they do in the past?
In the past, Bungie has had 3 or 4 different like little kind of plagiarism issues.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to go over this because I think this is a really complicated story, and I think it's a little bit more cut and dry than it may seem on the internet. But okay, so I don't know if I have the examples of all this stuff, but like the thing is that okay, there was a cutscene that Bungie did that Bungie outsourced for Destiny that was the series of like. It was like a motion comic, or it was a series of panels, and it was about the origin of one of the characters in their story.
Sure.
And one of the panels was like just a direct rip of like fan art for the thing. This was done by an outside contractor, and when they came down to it, they said the outside contractor basically did a Google search for images, found this image, thought it was official Bungie artwork, and then like just copied it.
Didn't research to make sure.
Didn't make sure. So
charming.
Okay. They apologized. They said they would get in touch. They said they would kind of do right by them. There was a second issue where somebody had made a gun skin. They had made like a skin for one of the guns in the game as like a fan project.
One interjection.
Yes.
Why would someone who works for this company need to Google image search for things, assets they should just have on deck?
So here's the thing. I think that in most of these cases, these were contractors that were working so this was a contractor that was working on this movie. I don't think it was like specifically in-house. At least that's as I understand it.
Okay. I was about to say, but you see where I'm getting at here is like if you're working with them or for them, you should be given the assets that you need.
Yes.
Not have to Google it. But anyways, do continue.
So there was another one where somebody made a gun skin. It was a skin for the gun that this one specific character uses. And Nerf, they decided they had like a crossover with Nerf where they made like some of the guns look like Nerf guns, and one of the skins for one of these guns was like they took that fan skin and then inverted it, and then basically like
that's it.
The weathering was the same. Some of the colors were slightly changed, but like I mean, we're talking individual details were very, very similar. Now, again, I think that was done by an external contractor. It was like a tie-in with Nerf where Nerf was like, hey, if we make these skins, we put them in the game, and they were like, yes. And then somebody outside of the company did this, whether it was intentional or no, it was definitely intentional. But I guess the question is whether they thought again that they were looking at official art or whether they didn't know. Either way, they apologized. They apologized to the person that did it, et cetera, et cetera. There's an ongoing legal case. I didn't get into the deep meat of this one where they had a...
You think after the first time they talked to their contractors, be like, yo, here is a folder with assets from our game.
Right.
Officially licensed assets for our game that you may utilize.
Okay, now put a pin in that because we're gonna come back to that.
Okay.
We're gonna come back to that. The other one that they had was there was a story that was written on some guy's blog that he's suing Bungie because he's like, one of the plot points in one of your DLCs was just directly lifted from my fucking blog. Like this is just kind of a one-to-one. The stuff that happens in my story happens in your story. That one is difficult to say because it's still ongoing, and Bungie is like fighting it more than just apologizing and then moving on.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, I think there might have been one more, but I can't quite remember.
So, which brings us to their 4th or 5th faux pas.
Right. Which is that this week there's an artist on Twitter called Anti-Real that makes this very specific kind of art. It's very like kind of stripped down futurism. Like if you look at their Twitter, you can see no. that's on Blue Sky. You can see that it's like this very stripped down, chunky typography, and like big kind of blocks, pixels, vector art, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I saw like wingdings and things done in sort of like a chattery sort of like mosaic almost.
Right. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing I want everybody to keep in mind, and I want to get this out there up front because this is what has been on my mind this week. This is a very, very excellent artist. This person is excellent at this. This style is derivative of styles that have been around for a little while. This kind of primitive, like pixel-based stuff. Again, I don't want to like. I think that I just want to get out in front of this one thing. I think that some people online, before we get into the Bungie part, think that Anti-Real like made this style up.
It's a futuristic brutalism.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a company called the Designers Republic that was back in the, and I only know about this because like back in the early 2000s, there was a company called Designers Republic that did work for like Aphex Twin and Tekra and like some stuff. And they were a British company. And it's not exactly like this. This is definitely an evolution on that style, but they did a lot of that. Like if you remember, do you remember Wipeout XL on the PlayStation? Had this very kind of chunky, like primary colors, kind of hard angles. But then with
don't recall that one, but yeah. So this artist is good. The first article you sent me where it had a comparison, I didn't quite understand how it was lifted until I read some more of the articles you sent.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, okay. Because I think the first example of an image was just kind of like the wingdingy sort of like chatter, like mosaic-y thing. And I was like, I guess these kind of look similar. But as I saw some more of the assets that they were using, there was one that even had like a watermark with their name still on it, like clearly still there.
Yes, clearly manually erased, but not even well enough. Which I'm like, but why?
Yeah,
like that was weird to me. You know, when you're looking at something online, like you're looking at like chat captures, and instead of just using like the box tool, people like grab the pencil and like scribble over it, and I'm like,
I can still see
a lot of that. Anyway, but yeah, so this week this artist Anti-Real came out and basically showed that there were a bunch of assets in the recent marathon beta that were directly lifted from their portfolio.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, come on, you guys.
Like this word, like this aleph with the line and this text underneath it is in a bunch of different places. They show this kind of like these double triangles.
And they just inverted them. They turned them upside down. They inverted them.
Well, the craziest thing is there's this one image that's like a group of squares, and each square has kind of like a little abstract image inside of it. One of those, like this, that right there, that's Anti-Real's like symbol. That's their like logo. Tag. Like, so literally you could see their tag. And then the one that Tessa, you were talking about was this one that is like, it's
yeah, you just had it pulled up.
Yeah,
it's like
it's this number, and
28.
it says Anti-Real Daily Series, and then you could literally see where it's been like
tried to scrub it
inexpertly. Well, it's an image file, man. I could get rid of that in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I can get rid of that now with online tools. Like
it's so weirdly lazy and not. It's just very strange. Yeah. So yeah, as I got into this, and now they're talking about, we have to reassess all the assets now, and I'm just like, and they don't know what's going to happen with the game, if it's how long it's going to get pushed back. And I was like, there's an easy way you could solve this: pay the artist.
That's true.
Just pay the artist and be like, hey, do you want to get a credit for like basically helping come up with the aesthetic for our game? Like,
yep.
I would just do that.
Yep. This is. So yeah, those are the basics. There's another example. There's that
that's
kind of sheet.
That's the one I didn't quite see it.
This kind of sheet of abstract stuff. I think it's because the individual like little symbols that are being used to make these patterns are like the same symbols that this Anti-Real person has on this kind of. It's basically like if you were doing ASCII art, but instead of letters, you were using custom symbols.
Okay.
And I think there's a similarity between the symbols that are being used.
Oh, those are custom symbols. They're not like in a font set. Okay.
Yes. So, okay. Come on, brain. Let's go.
You got this.
So here's the thing. When asked about it, Bungie said, and this is we're going to take that pin out of where you were. Bungie said that an artist that is no longer with the company put these images into basically like a style bucket like years ago and then left. And so how are they in there is that like the assumption, I'm reading a little bit between the lines, but this is, I think, the best faith interpretation is that they had an artist who was basically ripping off this stuff from Anti-Real. They generated, quote unquote, generated a bunch of assets, which they just lifted them. They put them into the Google Drive or Dropbox or something that was the art bucket that then the artists were supposed to use to make the levels. And then nobody caught this because they assumed that this stuff was made by the artist. It could have even been mixed in with stuff that isn't lifted. Could have just been, hey, I'm feeling shitty today and I don't feel like working. I'm just going to go, I'm going to reverse a few things and scrub a few things out, dump them in the Dropbox and be like, I did my 10 things for the day, boss, and I'm leaving.
Jeff, this hits very personally for me because in college, my very last week in college, someone tried to steal some of my art, which was really fun. And it became like a whole thing.
Yes.
And long story short, or short-ish, last week of college, there was a postcard competition. Then I went around campus taking photos of the campus covered in snow because it was for a Christmas postcard for the college. And I took some really nice photos, and then I painstakingly, scanned in the image and then edited out all the power lines and the things. It kind of made it look not so, nice.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm working on that, and I need to print it out or something. And this gal was on the computer hooked up to the printer, and she's like, "Oh, give me your thumb drive, I'll print it for you." And next thing I know, she has my file on her computer and she's working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, "Hey, you said you would print that for me. You can't. Would you please delete that off your computer?"
Right.
And and she's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I walked away and someone said, "Yeah, after you left," she said, "well, it's mine now." And I turned on my heel back down the hall and talked to her and was like, "No, you need to delete that." And I made a whole scene in front of the class. She starts crying just in time for the teacher to come back in.
Nice.
And all the teacher sees is me mad and this girl crying.
Sure.
And so, of course, the teacher's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "She's stealing my art. I spent editing this to make it look nice, and she's taking the finished product and trying to use it herself."
Yep.
And they forced me to apologize to her.
Boo.
Yeah, the college made me apologize to her. She was once they figured out the whole story, they were supposed to apologize to me. That never happened.
Yeah.
So every time my college sends me a letter being like, "Donate money to us," or they call, and I'm like, "So I'm not gonna, and here's why." Go fuck yourself. So this shit hits really close to home for me as an artist who has had someone blatantly steal it in front of me, and her saying, "Well, I changed a couple things."
Yeah.
In some of these graphic design classes in college, they will be like, "Well, if you change 4 or 5 different things, it's different enough. You should be fine." I'm like, "No, just draw your own shit." Sorry.
No. That's all right. That's all right. So that part of this is what I wanted to get into is because the thing is that that's the story basically is that Bungie has said that this person that a person's no longer with them, and they had a bunch of budget cuts 5 months ago or something like that. They axed a bunch of people. Bungie is not in a great place right now. A lot of the latest Destiny content has not sold very well. This is kind of a lot of people are thinking that this game is kind of like their last chance, and that we'll get into it in a minute, but that people are not super jazzed for this game, and so this is kind of kicking an already dead horse type of thing. But what I wanted to talk about is, and I think it's good that you're here for this, is art style. Because the thing is that I was actually talking with Matt about this yesterday because it was interesting to talk about with artists, is that I think that a lot of people, if you're doing work for hire, if you're working on a project, especially if you're working under an art director, a lot of times you're not asserting your own art style. They say, do stuff in the style of X. I want this project to look like this. And so you work in that art style. The thing that I keep coming back to, though, is that the more specific and especially the less popular that style is, the more careful you have to be. Because a lot of people are saying, right, well, Bungie should have known. They should have known that this was happening, especially because I forgot to mention this part. A lot of the art team and the art director follow Anti-Real on Twitter. But the thing is that you could have, like, the reason I wanted to say that Anti-Real didn't create this style whole cloth is because you could say, we want to do this in this we want this game to have this brutalist, you know, kind of like chunky sans serif. I don't know what the name of it is, whatever this style is, right? I call it the Designers Republic style because that's what I know it as. But like, and so you say, okay, I'm going to follow a bunch of people on Twitter that are in this style because I'm going to use that as a jumping off point. I want to get familiar. Like if somebody asked me to do something in a brutalist style, I would look at a bunch of brutalist art first to get an idea of how it worked.
But this isn't that sort of argument because they obviously lifted it. It's not I was inspired by. It's I literally just stole it and just inverted the colors or flipped a design around or shoddily erased their freaking name off of it.
Right.
Like this isn't even we were inspired by. It was like they straight up lifted.
Right. But again, I'm only saying this because I think that there's more ambiguity to this story because the thing is that it's possible.
I'm making a very incredulous face at Jeff right now.
Yes. Okay. Let me see my thing. If they decided, like, here's the trailer for like the cinematic thing. If they decided they wanted to do stuff in this style, you would want to look at the people who are good at this style in order to get an idea of what's going on. Now, it is possible that one person on this team could have been a bad actor who lifted stuff directly.
Sure.
Instead of looking at it for inspiration, they lifted it directly. And the problem that I'm having is that, again, I'm not trying to excuse this because I think that this is all fucked up and bad. And I do think that they should credit Anti-Real and give them money and hire them to be their new art director or whatever, right? But
that's one way to fix it. They want to fix it.
What I wanted to say is that it is possible that the stolen art, because as you saw, I showed you everything that I was able to find, that this art was stolen by one person who put it into a bucket where it was assumed that it was their own art and nobody was meticulously checking every asset that was uploaded.
Is there a possibility that there was a lack of communication and the higher-ups didn't know? Absolutely. The person who took it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's... Still. And you said the people there follow this artist and none of them clocked it? I mean, I guess whatever. But
I mean, the idea being, it depends. Like, a lot of it just depends.
I mean, yeah, it's debatable whether all the higher ups knew about it or not.
Like, and again, I'm definitely not trying to excuse any of this because I do think that art theft, especially on the internet, is a big thing. It used to be that if you wanted to steal art, you had to get a book, you had to go to a painting, it was harder, right? Yeah. Whereas now it's a lot easier to just fucking rip shit off of Google images. I have to be careful when I'm searching for thumbnail art that I don't accidentally get fan art
instead of the video game cover art,
right? Instead of like company art, because a lot of times the company art sucks, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. But wait a minute, that looks like it could be fan art. And when we look at this trailer, there's obviously a lot of elements in here that are not directly lifted, right? Yeah. Like if it was a 1-to-1 all through everything, then there would have been a bigger investigation. People would have been able to find more. So. Like the thing is, I think that Bungie did a bad, and I think that they have a history of doing the bads. Now, here's a question I'll ask to you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you decide that you want to do something in this style, and you're hiring a bunch of people to work under you. I don't know how you make sure that they aren't stealing stuff. Like if you've got a sheet,
it's very easy. You take what they submit to you and then you just do like a Google image search. That's not too difficult to do these days.
Yeah, maybe, but
it's not going to be perfect, but it definitely will catch some of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tricky. Like if you reverse it, if you obfuscate it, if like well, first off, as somebody who uses Google image search to make their thumbnails, Google image search has become garbage. Like it is fucking impossible to use.
Now it's just for like finding t-shirts or
I tried using TinEye. Like so much AI is in it now. I tried using TinEye. That's not a very good one. Like Google Images has really...
In the comments, please tell us if you know any good reverse image search things now.
Right.
Anyways.
And I mean, I guess it does bring up the question of whether it's necessary moving forward to have like a professional plagiarism detector on staff who just does nothing. Because you think about if there's
that's what you should use AI for to detect plagiarism.
Maybe
let's have an AI plagiarism detector.
If it was reliable, certainly. But then because then you come to the question of like, if you've got this Dropbox that is full of, if you've got artists that are sitting around cranking out 100 light blue pixel art, swoopy sans serif things and shoving them in here a day, it's a lot of work to say, I have to check the work of every single artist on this team every day, all across the entire internet to make sure that nothing like bad is happening.
I mean, it's definitely behooves them to know like which school did this person go to, or which university or college did they go to?
Yeah.
That maybe teaches their students a certain level of what is okay.
Sure.
Like that's definitely something I'd look into. Like, oh, you went to this school. Oh, well, I know this teacher allows this level of plagiarism.
Again, the thing is, I think that I want to make absolutely sure, because I'm talking about this from a practical perspective, because when I think about this story, I think about, what if I was this art director and suddenly I'm like, oh, fuck, like this bullshit has happened again where somebody has stolen something and they were like 5 tiers below me. I said hi to them twice in the hall and now suddenly I've got the entire internet saying you've ripped off this entire thing. And anyway, it's tricky. I encourage everybody to just think about that. One, if you want to do something in an art style, it's very difficult. The more obscure the art style is, it's very difficult. You have to make sure that you're not succumbing to crypto memory, that you're just drawing something that ends up so similar that it could be considered basically lifted. I was talking to Matt, there's a lot of drawing techniques where making stuff look good ends up making stuff look similar because people are trying to make things aesthetically pleasing. There are certain types of things that are aesthetically pleasing to look at. Sure. Anyway, as I'm going to keep saying, none of this is to excuse Bungie, because the thing is that
you're just opening up the dialogue to different topics that are associated. Sure.
Here's the thing. This game looks like balls. Like, it looks good. Like, the art style is good, like what they've lifted and what they haven't lifted or whatever. I like that it's a unique art style.
But the gameplay itself?
It's called an extraction shooter. And what an extraction shooter is it's like a battle royale where you have teams of 3, but instead of like trying to kill your way to the top, you're trying to gather resources from the environment and then extract with them. So like you're trying to basically get resources and then get to a checkpoint where you're able to leave the game with the resources.
Okay.
You use those resources and then buy gear and equipment for your next round in the game so you can get stronger and you have better stuff.
Okay.
However, if you get killed, you drop both the resources and all of your equipment. So you could end up like being scrubbed back to square one, right?
The drawing board. Okay.
So it's kind of like an arena, like a Counter-Strike style shooter, but over a longer period of time.
I feel like that could really cause some video game rage.
Yes,
I feel like that sort of formula is definitely like somebody's going to get murdered over this game in real life somehow.
If
someone gets into it enough and like, oh, this person like made me drop all this stuff that I've accumulated over 5 years.
Yep. There's one game called Escape from Tarkov that is like very popular, makes a lot of money in this genre. It seems to me like the video game industry thinks that this is going to be the next big thing. I don't know that many people who are interested in any way, shape, or form in playing this level of brutal online multiplayer game. And like Destiny and Halo, the previous games from Bungie, they had single player campaigns. They had co-op campaigns where you could just fight against the computer. Whereas like this is just online multiplayer. And so and it's supposed to come out this September.
Okay.
They had a beta for it. The beta did not go well. People did not really enjoy it and complained about it quite a bit. There is a story going around that the people who Bungie got bought by Sony for like $3 billion or something a few years back.
Okay.
Part of that was in stock options. Those options vest right around September when this game is supposed to come out. And so the idea is that Bungie higher-ups are pushing this game out the door so that if they get any kind of bump when it releases, they can then immediately cash out their vested stock options and get their payday. And that by delaying it, the stock will not be moving. And so they're shoving a half finished game out the door to try as hard as they can to do this.
Okay.
Also, yeah. So there's a lot going on here. Everybody seems to be under the same. Like the solution for everybody seems to be the same.
Hire the artist.
Well, the artist is gone. Like the person who submitted this stuff, they were fired.
Well, yeah,
months ago.
I mean hire the artist.
Hire the artist. Yes,
that they stole from.
I'm not sure if that person would even want to do that.
Yeah, I'm good.
But credit the artist at least.
Yeah.
Ask them what they want to make it right. Like, you've got Sony behind you with their pocketbooks, and you could probably write a check. But the biggest thing is delay this thing. Like, you have to try to make this a better product, because if you release even if you resolve this stuff, releasing it as is seems like it's not going to be a good.
Oh, they're 100% going to release it as is so they can get their payday, and then they'll just do patches after the fact.
Yes, but the thing is that last year they had that Concord game that came out that was like such a failure that the company was shuttered and Sony lost a lot of money on like 5 years worth of development for a game that basically the week after it launched was like it had like 100 people playing it like the week after it launched. It was like, you can't, that's just unsustainable. So so people are saying that this could be the next Concord. There's a very good chance. Yeah, and that's kind of the story. Like,
that's all she wrote.
There's been some reporting that inside of Bungie, the morale is just horribly low by the people that work there. There's been reporting saying that everybody that worked there has been saying for 5 years to management, this game is not going to sell. Like, we will do what you tell us, but no one's going to buy this. It's not going to be popular enough to justify the amount of money you've put into it, and the company is already shaky.
Not listening to the folks who are in the industry and know, like, this isn't going to be popular, but okay.
Yeah, and we're also living in a world where we're seeing big companies teeter, and we're seeing larger, like, this is not a good time to ask people for more of their time and money, even outside of video games, right? So it's a difficult ask. And I really do think that, and I remember listening to this, I really do think that people should go follow Auntie Real. They're also a musician. I think it's a woman. She lives in Scotland or Ireland. I looked at a lot of their Twitter when I was looking through the story.
Sure.
And I want to make real sure. They're very, very, very good at this style. Like, they're excellent at this stuff. And apparently they've been doing it for years without getting paid. It's just like, I like to do this. It's the art that I like to do. So that's great. That's amazing. So, yeah. So I think with that, we're not quite at the end of 45 minutes, but we've been dividing this up into 45-minute segments. So I think we're going to go ahead and take a break. But then in part 2, we're going to have to marathon our way, no pun intended, through a shitload of stories here, because I haven't even gotten to Darth Vader saying skibbity toilet yet.
I'm going to just strap on my bungee cord and jump into the void.
There you go. Now you're thinking with portals. All right, stick around, everybody. We'll be right back in just a moment. Tess, I'm feeling it. The coffee has grabbed hold. The ibuprofen has done its job. I'm ready to talk about Skibbity Vader. I'm ready to talk about Fortnite.
Come again?
So
Skibbity what?
So last week, Epic added Darth. They're doing the May the 4th. They're doing a big Star Wars crossover.
Yeah, May the 4th be with you.
Yep, they added
Revenge
in
of the 6th.
A Darth Vader that can be part of your group in Fortnite. So you can get this Darth Vader as part of your group.
Sure.
Now, this Darth Vader will talk to you and is controlled by the artificial intelligence large language model. Now, they got, apparently before he passed away, James Earl Jones said, I think that Darth Vader is like a thing, and that everybody should, I want it to continue after I'm gone.
Sure.
So gave them basically the opportunity to do AI stuff using the voice.
Modulations of his voice.
Right.
Sure.
However, the thing is that this is different than that, because people are talking to this Darth Vader, and that Darth Vader is then is then like getting that stuff is getting fed into a large language model that is then outputting something based on this Darth Vader like thing that they've got, and then is talking back to people in the AI Darth Vader voice. Now I'm very hit or miss on AI. I'm not like completely anti, because I think there's some places where you could maybe make a case for it, but one of the things I love about AI is watching people use it too early and then come up with dumb shit like what is happening here. Like, oh God. So there was one, I'm just saying, I'm just going to read some of these quotes. There's one where he says, "Your performance thus far suggests that you are adopted."
That's pretty good.
There's one where they said, he said Hawk Tua, he said the skibbity toilet, like referring to somebody's gamer tag. There was somebody who got him to say the F slur for gay people in relation to British cigarettes, because the AI can't differentiate between that.
Okay, between what the usage is for.
Yes. There's been you can't control this stuff, and so a lot of this is very weird. There's one point where he says Anakin Skywalker was a student of mine who turned to the dark side, and people are like, how does this thing not even know the lore? Like, it is Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
There's this one where it says, "Provoke me again and you will face consequences far beyond this game." And people are like, did Darth Vader just threaten to kill me in real life? There's this one where he says,
he's gaining sentience, y'all.
"Spanish is a useful tongue for smugglers and spice traders."
That
and
is. Are we gonna vaguely racist?
There was a thing where he said some kind of sketchy stuff about Pride Month.
Oh no! No.
And so there was even a part where somebody, I saw one where somebody was screaming at him saying, "Fucking Darth fucking Vader, what the fucking freaking fracking fucking fuck is wrong with you?" And the AI was like, "Fucking, freaking, these are not words that a true warrior should use." And it was like, you got Darth Vader to say fucking within like 1 minute of him being online. Because of course you did. You unleashed this AI with a bunch of 15-year-old fucking Twitch streamers. The first thing they're going to do is try to get him to say as many bad things as humanly possible.
I mean, this is a moment where you just quote Jurassic Park.
Right.
Scientists spent so much time, wondering if they could. They never wondered if whether they should.
Yep.
Kind of big deal. Like, yeah. So that's why. Why? No. Just have the character have programmed lines. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, maybe it's repetitive. Maybe it's, what's the ones from that pirate game? Was like, drown them all.
Oh, yeah. Kill them all.
Kill them all.
Yeah.
The pirate game where they just kept
Captain
saying,
Blood, yeah.
they kept saying the same shit over
Send
and
him
over.
to the bottom of the sea or whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, you were just like, oh, God, this is now our new catchphrase, but I guess not. It didn't stick.
I mean, like, I don't know what the thing is that it's interesting watching the AI stuff because no one can predict what's going to come out of it.
It's hilarious.
Like, it's such a black box that people are like, yeah, we can use this as our customer service agent. And then it's like, well, have you considered killing yourself?
Yeah,
it's like, wait, what? Whoa. Or like that stuff from the early Google or AI days where it was like, yes, to get the cheese to stick to your pizza, add just a little bit of glue, because it was parsing Reddit answers and it can't tell joke answers
it doesn't know
from
sarcasm.
Real answers. Yeah, where it was like eating 1 or 2 rocks a day can be very healthy for your digestive system. And people
if you're
are like,
a bird.
What? So anyway, the Epic Games took this down. They made some changes to try to keep it. Then they put it back up.
And it's still bad, huh?
It's still up there. I don't know. I'm really toward Tessa because on the one side, it's like, this is the sort of failure that I think is freaking fucking hilarious.
It's really
like,
funny. No, it's
I
legitimately
think it's
funny.
Really funny because it's watching a company try to use something to cut corners and just having it explode directly into their faces like a Mark Rober glitter bomb. Like,
it's like one of those little cans full of fake snakes.
Yep.
Just pop out at them.
Now, unfortunately, there was one more piece to this story, and that is that SAG-AFTRA has filed an unfair labor practice charge to Fortnite because SAG-AFTRA, they like negotiated AI rights before this came out, and apparently they're like, what? So this is actually really interesting because part of the SAG-AFTRA contract is like this idea that, and this is a really interesting ethical consideration to think of. They say, okay, James Earl Jones is no longer here. However, there are people that are inside of our union that are able to do this voice acting at a professional level who have basically a right to work and to not have essentially you have people who are professional sound-alikes who it's like, well, if everything is just going to be done by an AI, then like those people are out of jobs, and technically they do have AI provisions in job. So it's a strange gray area where you say, like, if somebody with a really famous voice dies and you have a computer that can do it exactly the right way, and then you have human people who have spent time, money, effort trying to like gaining the skills to be able to do that, like
they have an AI that doesn't do it the exact right way because the lines being generated are gibberish and nonsense.
Yes.
So why not just hire someone who can deliver lines that make sense and are actually canonically correct to that character?
And then SAG-AFTRA during their strike, they did get stronger protections against AI, and because this isn't like because James Earl Jones is like a SAG actor and not like a voice actor, because they're still striking and doing negotiations with video game performers, but because James Earl Jones is like, you know, like an actor, like I think that it falls under them. Now, none of this is like a lawsuit or anything. It's a complaint.
There's some people seem to misinterpret or misunderstand or not seem to understand there's a difference between, okay, legally they can do this, sure, or like potentially,
right.
Like if James Earl Jones is like, yes, you may use my voice for, you know, Darth Vader, yada yada. There's a difference between, yes, legally they can do this versus, you know, should they do this, like morally, and just like, is this good business, you know? And a lot of people like, and us as consumers can be like, see, like, this is how this company wants to do business. You can choose whether to give them money or not, and just say, you know, like, there's plenty of things that you could technically do that, but if you did, you'd be burning some bridges and just being kind of rude, you know?
Yep.
That's like, anyways, that's kind of my take on it, is like, can they use this AI? It seems that yes, they got permission from James Earl Jones before he passed away, but the fact that it's spewing this nonsense is kind of doing him a disservice.
Yep.
And I feel like it might behoove them, be like, if they really respect him as an actor, you know, that they would pull that and just be like, you know what? Maybe we should scrub this and go approach this a different way.
Or at least, I mean, I keep coming back to the idea that I can, like, it would be interesting to play a video game. Like, imagine Captain Blood, where, like, if there was some kind of weird AI that was running, that was watching, like, what we were doing in that game and then reacting to it with customized voices that have been licensed legally and the actors were okay with it.
Yeah.
So that, like, when they say something, it's something very specific of, like, Captain, what a great shot on the west side. I can't believe that you managed to hit 3 out of 4 of those cannonballs type of thing. And it's like, okay, well, that would be better than just hearing the same 2 lines over and over again. But the thing is that it doesn't seem like it's there yet. It seems like they're rushing to shove this shit out before it's sophisticated enough to be able to be like, I need to make sure that if I'm using the AI for the guys on the ship, that they don't start talking about Spanish being a good language for smugglers and spice criminals. Like,
what?
That it's not just gonna go crazy and start doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's AI that can be used as a tool that's helpful versus AI that is unmanageable in its current form.
Sure.
And also in certain capacities, depending on how it works and how it runs and where it pulls information from, is theft.
Yeah.
And also just bad for the environment.
Yep.
Anyways.
I mean, there's there are a lot of things to consider when it comes to that technology, and I just wish that, I think it's interesting, but I think it's like in its infancy, and everybody is rushing to put it on your plate before it's even ripe to be picked, right? That, like,
there's like salmonella, my favorite.
Right. That there's
this half-cooked chicken.
Right, that there's a lot of half-cooked chicken. That's a great metaphor. There's a lot of AI chicken that is pink in the middle, and it's like, guys,
I can't eat this.
You need more time with this. It's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's hilarious.
Put it back in the oven.
Right, but I think it might need to have a little bit more time.
It needs to cook.
Let's see. Speaking of Fortnite, Fortnite is back on the Apple App Store after it was like 3 or 4 years almost 5 years away.
I didn't notice its absence. I don't play Fortnite. I have played it before though, and I have a nephew who loves it.
Yeah, this was part of a thing where Apple and Epic have been going back and forth because Epic has said the only way to buy stuff on an iPhone is through the Apple Store, and Apple takes like 30%, and Epic is like, no, we want people to be able to buy stuff directly from us, and there's no legal reason why you should be restricting this. Big court case. Judge found in Epic's favor and said, no, you do have to allow people to do checkouts through non-Apple pay sources. Like, you can't restrict every transaction on this device to your store where you take a big cut. Apple's response to that was that they were slow walking putting Fortnite back on the store, of just like, well, we have to
dragging their feet.
We have to spend more time examining this to make sure there's nothing wrong with it before it gets back up there. Well, last week Epic went back to the judge who made that decision and said, hey, can you speed this up?
Along? Yeah, they're dragging their feet.
Yep. And the judge basically came back and said, yeah, you need to put that up there right now, or else I'm going to reconvene, and we're going to start figuring out the
amount of money that you've cost them now.
Yeah, we're going to start looking at like some stuff you don't want us to look at. And so they put it back up.
Oh, wow, that's weird. Fortnite's back up now.
Fortnite's back up. So
it only took a judge just saying that to get them to do it.
Yep.
So weird.
Yep.
How weird.
So, yeah, back up. There you go. Let's see. From there, oh, yes, I forgot. We had a third major gaffe this week. So we had Bungie, we had Fortnite, and then we have Randy goddamn Pitchford.
Wait, what's... Give me this. Who, what, where?
Okay. Randy Pitchford is the head of Gearbox. He's the guy that makes the Borderlands, the company that makes the Borderlands games. He is a character. There's a whole
character in what way?
He's an amateur magician. One time he left a USB key at a medieval times restaurant, and when they found it, they found source files for Borderlands, as well as a lot of squirting pornography on it. And when he was asked about it, he said he was examining it because he had an idea for a magic trick and needed to see how that worked. So
wait.
We have no time to go into.
Jeff,
I know.
Stop.
I know. But I know.
I just would be like, so you're also a man of taste.
The whole story is such a headline of like a video game CEO leaves USB key with pornography at medieval times restaurant. Anyway, last week,
did he have a crush on a server and he was hoping that they would find that USB?
I have no idea.
I feel like, is that some sort of like, is he doing a long con?
He's a real character. He's a real strange guy. But last week, so Borderlands 4 is getting ready to come out, and there's been a question because Nintendo raised the price of a bunch of their games to $80.
The question is, how much squirting is going to be in that game?
Squirting. Microsoft raised the price of a lot of their first-party stuff to $80 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And the question at this point is Sony hasn't followed course yet, but they're almost certainly going to soon, making the cost of just a regular AAA game $80. So somebody asked Randy Pitchford on Twitter, hey, is Borderlands 4 going to be $80? And Randy Pitchford basically responded by saying, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991, and when I was just out of high school working minimum wage in an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, I found a way to make it happen. So if you're a real fan of Borderlands, no, you'll just pay whatever we ask for.
Okay.
The internet has not reacted well
kindly to that,
to this news. Yes.
Like basically work harder to forward our game. Okay.
Yes.
That sounds like that's a yes. It's going to be $80.
I think that
with that kind of response,
Randy is one of these people who just doesn't.
Is that him?
Yes, that's him. Who doesn't entirely understand what he's saying. Like, you get people that $70, $80, to Randy Pitchford, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter because he's wealthy. He's a big time game developer. And I think a lot of times people don't understand that, like, they're just like, well, it's $10 extra. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
yes, it's $10 extra on top of the cost of everything else going up. Well, 5, 3, 2, whatever, however many dollars, it adds up.
Yeah. So, the internet has not been happy with this.
Nope. Imagine not.
Yeah. And, Is
there an incoming apology video? Are we going to get an apology video?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Not from this guy? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't there's not really very much more to it than that outside of the idea of just like, well, there maybe a little bit of a coda where you say the budget for Borderlands 4 is twice the budget for Borderlands 3, which was like $95 or $120 million. So they doubled the budget for Borderlands 4, Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 sold like well, but not like super, super great.
How much did 3 sell for?
I think it was 60 because it was back when games were $60. Everything was $60.
Okay, so they're upping 20.
It maybe. The thing is, it's not entirely clear. Like, the game is being that price. He is correct when he says that price is probably out of his hands. He probably does have some pull, but the game is being published by 2K, and they're probably the ones who will set the price for it.
I was about to say, if they double their budget, then if they did double the cost of what it was previously, then it'd be like $120 or something.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you put out a game, if you put out Borderlands 4 for $120, nobody would buy it.
I know.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It does bring out an interesting question of like, the game industry keeps saying like, well, the budgets for these games are huge, and so we have to charge more.
Well,
and it's
maybe don't have your budget be that big.
Is anybody like? I've been playing a lot of indie games this year that are way better than some of the big releases.
I love some indie games. Like, I feel like a large quantity of the games I play are indie games.
Yeah. So the idea that we must do this. It is inevitable. And it's like, well,
no,
it's a choice. Like, in fact, Nintendo, they raised the price of that new Mario Kart that's for the Switch 2 to $80.
Oh.
And there were stories last week that saying that was supposed to be a Switch 1 game and that they didn't put on the Switch 1 because it wouldn't run it well enough, right? That it wouldn't run well enough on the Switch 1.
Yeah.
So the idea here is like, well, if it was a Switch 1 game, it would have been $60, right? Like, what exactly happened that made it so good that you have to charge us all $80 when the cost of goddamn everything is already much more expensive? I don't know. I asked this also from a weird position in the fact that, like, I buy a lot of video games and that people pay me to buy a lot of video games, but that, like, if every game goes up to $80, that's tricky. That starts to put a little bit of a pressure on me that it didn't before. But
yeah, it's a bit of a squeeze.
So it would be nice if people took this shit a little more seriously and weren't so glib like Mr. Pitchford. Okay, let's see. From there, speaking of game developer news, there was a game that PlayStation is making called Fair Games with a $sign at the end that was being made. It's another kind of extraction shooter that was being made internally at Sony and was being directed by Jade Raymond, who's a big-time name in game development. She's been around for a long time. She's got a very good, I think she made the first Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay.
Very well respected. She worked for Google Stadia for a while, and then when that dissolved, she went back to go work for Sony.
Okay.
She has left the company that is making Fair Games after they had a recent beta test that went, from all intents and purposes, very poorly.
Okay.
It is unclear. I believe that she is going over to Netflix games, specifically to the Oxenfree team.
I love Oxenfree.
Yeah. This is interesting because mostly because Sony had 13 live service games that they said were in development 2 years ago. They want to just kind of flood the zone with live service games, and Concord failed. The Horizon MMO was canceled. The Naughty Dogs, they're the Last of Us multiplayer game that they canceled that had been in development for 3 years. They're basically,
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
A lot of these things are not turning into actual games because they put all their eggs into this one genre basket. And it turns out that like last year when Suicide Squad Kills Justice League came out, whatever, it was like, we don't like this anymore, you guys. And it's like, well, it takes 5 years to develop a game. So now we've got to like retool a lot of these things.
Got to diversify.
Yeah. So
genre.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether that game actually exists at some point or not. Let's see. Other game developer news. We recently, it's a little bit more Nintendo news. Recently, Shigeru Miyamoto was asked why there's a new redesign for Donkey Kong. There's a new Donkey Kong the Bonanza game. And Donkey Kong has a little bit of a different face in this one than he has previously.
Okay.
Instead of kind of the kind of like dark moon with the big brow over it with kind of googly eyes underneath it. He's kind of got more created eyes and a different style of face. And part of this was just apparently that now that they're making a game that has a 3D Donkey Kong who's going to be in cutscenes, they needed the character to be more expressive, and so they decided to break basically this weird, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about with the weird like
unibrow sort of thing.
Well, it's like this giant brow ridge, and there was all this darkness between that and the mouth, and then there were just two eyes that were kind of like kind of free floating underneath that. And I used
to play a lot of Donkey Kong on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just for more expression, more expressive.
Yeah.
So the way it's like this very kind of enforced kind of ridge, but now he's got the kind of individual eyes, and they're able to do more expressions. He's got two kind of eyebrow ridges and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I know that a lot of people have been wondering because there was suddenly a big redesign for Donkey Kong, and people were like, but why?
For why?
And apparently it's just because, you can put Donkey Kong in his own game. He's going to need to be able to make goofy expressions.
Fair enough.
So let's just into some other Nintendo news. The Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty imminent in its launch. We've got, I believe it's 2 weeks, about the same time as the Summer Games Fest is the launch of the Switch 2. I think it's kind of the same week. So we had a few updates. One was that talking to Doug Bowser, IGN had a big...
I love the boss, Doug Bowser.
IGN had a big interview with Doug Bowser and basically said that they are planning on trying to... They have... Because the first pre-orders, they all sold out immediately.
Of course.
Right? And then like all of the follow-ups have basically sold out, and I think that the question that people have right now is this going to be like during the pandemic or the launch of the PS5 or the Xbox?
Impossible to get a hold of.
Impossible to get a hold of. Doug Bowser is saying, no, we've got a bunch of like manufacturing that is working. There's going to be a huge restock around Christmas and at various times throughout the year because Nintendo doesn't want people to want to be able to give them their money and not be able to give them their money.
It's like, we want your money. We just need to make them fast.
They want the $450 and they want you to be able to do that.
I would love a Switch. I need to get one.
Also, though, he said that, one of the big questions here has been tariffs because a lot of Switch stuff is made in China. There's also a bunch that's made in Vietnam. These have been targets of the Trump administration's tariffs. And so the question is right now, because Nintendo is in a real difficult place. If they don't sell the Switch 2 well enough early on, then you get into this weird situation where, like, if you don't have an install base, then you can't sell Donkey Kong Bonanza because there aren't enough people, or it doesn't sell well because you have to have a Switch 2 to play Donkey Kong Bonanza. So you need there to be as big of an operating base as possible. On the other hand, if our current leader decides to raise tariffs on Vietnam by 400% because he woke up on the wrong side of the fucking bed, then like Nintendo can't just leave the price where it is. But if you but they've set the Switch 2 at kind of the upper end of, I think, what people will pay for it. Yeah. Like if a Switch 2 was $800, I don't think anybody, I think you would get some, but you wouldn't get as much as like you would normally. So
that's not good.
Yeah. So basically, he's kind of come out and said, like, it was kind of an unfair question because they asked him, like, will you commit that the Switch 2 will be $450 forever and never change price? And it's like, no.
It's like, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Like, given the state of the world, yeah. It's just...
Also, we found out that there is a huge day one patch for the Switch 2, and that also it seems like the Switch 2 isn't being sent out to quite as many reviewers. So getting reviews of the actual kind of console is going to be a little difficult because people are at launch, right? Like people have to do that evaluation after it launches as opposed to beforehand, which is usually how this stuff works. So
big honking patch.
Yeah. Well, so it just means that we're probably not going to see any reviews on day one because normally you need like a month with the thing and you can't evaluate it if you're waiting for a huge patch that changes a bunch of stuff that's going to come out on the first day. So I recommend that everybody who can hold their horses to not buy a Switch 2 on day one. I did because this shit is kind of my job, but like if you were a normal person, I'm like, yeah, wait and then wait for the inevitable weird shit that comes up in the wild to be reported before you decide whether you want to actually do this or not. So some more good news. Some stores are going to have Switch 2s for sale on the day they come out. They're going to be holding some of them back from the pre-order stock. So if you are willing to go camp out in front of a GameStop for 2 days or a week or however long it is,
pass.
Then you might actually be able to pick one up. I say this because this is how Michael got me my Switch. I did not pre-order one, and he was such a trooper. He sat out in front of GameStop for 18 hours to get me my Switch.
Wait, did he get himself one too?
Nope.
Just got you one?
Just got me one.
Damn, that's a ride or die.
All the Switch games we've ever played are because Michael sat out in front of a GameStop for like 18 hours.
What a sweetheart.
Because they had like 6.
Oh my God.
And he was like the second or third in line, and then he just stayed there for like an entire day.
Wait, the Switch you let me borrow so I could play Bayonetta?
Yep.
Or no, you...
Yep, same Switch. The one that's right there. The one's got a bulging battery in it right now. Probably not safe. Let's see. We also found out, so one of the big contentions for the Switch 2 has been that Nintendo is going to be charging people these upgrade prices. Okay. So if you have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and then you want to run it looking good on the Switch 2, you got to give Nintendo $20.
What?
Because they've created these like upgraded, like enhanced editions. And they have an upcharge. It's basically the difference between whatever the cost of the game was and $80. So if you paid $60 for Breath of the Wild, it'll cost you $20 to make it into the
to port it
to the Switch 2 version.
And it will have your save files, but it'll just be upgraded.
Yes, it'll run better. It'll have enhanced graphics and stuff like that.
Okay, interesting approach.
There's been a point of contention because last generation there wasn't there weren't as many upgrade costs, but I keep remembering that the PS3, Xbox 360 to PS4, Xbox One upgrade, there were a lot of games that had like a $15 upcharge to play it on the modern systems. Anyway, Nintendo came out this week and they basically announced that there are a number of games: Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, a bunch of these games. ARMS, I know everybody was waiting to hear whether ARMS. These all have free upgrades where they will run better on the Switch 2, but they won't require anything.
Is ARMS like Wild Arms?
No, ARMS was this very weird game where everybody had spring boxing arms. And very weird hair. It was one of the launch games for the Switch 1, and it was very interesting art style. It was obviously supposed to be some kind of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out thing, and then I don't remember anybody ever hearing about it, or ever talk about it again.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what is that?
We also got some video and screenshots of what some of these games will look like on the Switch 2, which is good. So far, we've only really seen screenshots, but this is Cyberpunk 2077 running on the Switch 2. And like, it's a little blurry, but it's not quite as sharp as your big 4K version that you would get. But it's also perfectly functional, which is, it's good.
There's good old Keanu Reeves.
Little Johnny Silverhand himself. So then we also, we got a video of Cyberpunk 2077. We got a video for Yakuza 0, which looks pretty,
comparable.
Yeah, I mean, Yakuza is
looks pretty comparable.
More about textures. You have to really get into like the pixel counting to see big difference.
Yeah.
We got some screenshots of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is big because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet ran like total and complete ball sack on the Switch. They had bad frame rate, bad details. Everything was choppy and chunky and blurry, and it was just a bad experience. Like you can actually see in these screenshots, one of the big things is there are just more Pokemon on screen, as opposed to the original Switch version, which was blurry and kind of ghastly. A
little sparse on the top,
Yeah. Which is good, because I was actually kind of interested in playing that game, and then when I saw how it ran, I was like, no, thank you.
Hard pass.
Yep.
What else you got? What else you got, Jeff? What you got?
We got some details on the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. Project Orion.
Cyberpunk 2078.
I don't know. They're really in early days. They're currently working on The Witcher 4 is the big thing for CD Projekt Red, but they're currently spooling up the next Cyberpunk game. Mike Pondsmith, the guy who created the RPG that the game is based on, was in an interview where he talked about how they're going to have Night City, but they're going to have a second city that is like as big, that's been described as like a kind of Chicago gone wrong. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
That's when you put the pizza upside down. No, it's when you put the celery salt on the bun of the dog, and not. No, I don't. I don't know. And unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot more to the story than that. It's just a description of like most of the idea that Night City, the big city, was like the big chunk of Cyberpunk. We had a little bit of outskirts, but not much. Having a whole second city. It's basically like a Grand Theft Auto back in the day.
I know what we're talking about.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I ended up liking Cyberpunk once it was finally finished.
Yeah, it took a while.
Once they got everything all put together and put it out.
Took a hot minute.
Let's see. We also got the news that Naughty Dog has another game in the works.
Yay!
So they've got Intergalactic: The Heretic Project that was announced last year. That's interesting.
I think it looks cool.
And then Neil Druckmann came out and said they have another project that is basically a development that he is kind of like. He's kind of like he's been very like hands off, like not directing, like more backed up producing and letting people at Naughty Dog work on, which I don't want to start any fights. I want to start any fights, but I'm going to start fights, which I'm very happy about because I don't like Neil Druckmann's storytelling all that much. Like, I think that ever since The Last of Us was so acclaimed that he's gotten way up his own butt, and that his story is very heavy. Storytelling is very heavy-handed with very little subtlety, and I also like those Uncharted games, and I wish that I had more fun games where fun stuff, globe-trotting fun adventures happen, and it's not just like misery, feel bad. You feel bad. This is important. You feel bad. So,
I like the nuance of the human experience, and sometimes whoever's the good guy or bad guy just is in the eye of the beholder. We're all the hero in our own story usually.
Don't worry, Tessa. Everybody agrees with you. I'm standing in the middle of a parking lot like,
just
hey!
Screaming at the sky.
Hey! I have an opinion too!
Old man yells at cloud.
Yes.
I don't like...
don't invite that guy to the birthday party. Don't invite that guy.
Well, don't invite him to the Last of Us themed birthday party.
Yes. I don't hate The Last of Us. I just find it to be a little heavy-handed.
I know. It's okay,
but
Jeff.
Anyway, I'm interested because I like Naughty Dog as a studio, and I feel like they've gotten trapped in the vortex of like this kind of one. They've been in the Last of Us vortex for a while now, between re-releasing the first one and the second one, and as a company where it's like I like the Uncharted franchise, but even that, I want to see something else.
Uncharted's okay. I like Tomb Raider better.
Did you ever play the one with the spinoff one?
I did a little
Uncharted
bit.
one.
Yeah,
I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah, the one with the gals.
Yeah, Nadine and what's her face
tooling around in their Jeep.
Yep. Anyway, hopefully we can get something that's a little bit more light and fluffy. In other development news, it looks like Ubisoft is hiring to make a new Rayman game.
Interesting.
There was a LinkedIn profile where they were asked about where they were looking for people to hire on for a AAA Rayman game. And I'm like, it's about goddamn time. I love Rayman. Rayman Legends is like Rayman Origins, I think, is one of my favorite platformers.
I don't know if I've played a lot of Rayman. I've played some, but I mean, my platformer games, I was a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I was a Sonic kid. Anyways.
It's weird because the team that made those last Rayman games, they made the Prince of Persia Metroidvania game that came out a few years back, which I thought was, when I finally got around to playing, I was like, this is excellent. I want to see more of this. It's the best thing I played from Ubisoft in a long time. So it's strange to make a new team to make a new Rayman game when you already have a Rayman team that is ostensibly, I guess, working on a sequel to the Prince of Persia. You moved your Rayman developers to Prince of Persia, and then you're like, we need to make a new Rayman, hire more people. And
they're
it's
just
like,
shuffling the shells around.
What? So
you over here, you over there.
Yeah. Oh wait, actually, no. Sorry.
What?
Bad Saturday brain on me.
Bad brain.
No, this is not being made by a brand new team. They're staffing for this game. It is being developed by the team that made the Mario Rabbids games for the Switch, the Mario
Rabbids,
which are very good tactical shooter Mario games or tactics games.
I don't. just imagining Mario with a sniper rifle. That makes me uncomfortable.
You don't have to imagine it. You don't have to imagine it. It's a thing. Actually, I believe that Luigi is the one with the sniper rifle.
Oh, that just seems weird to me. They're plumbers. They don't know why they jump on Goombas. They don't shoot.
Yeah.
They're like Batman. They shouldn't have guns.
It's very weird that Ubisoft developed this Mario game where like half of the characters are Mario characters, and the other half are Rabbids that are cosplaying as Mario characters.
That's weird.
And you know what? I know that some people think of. I know that some people.
I mean, it's not
don't
the worst
like the Rabbids
crossover.
They're kind of like the Minions for me. I think the Rabbids are funny. I like their dumb, just like kind of goofiness. Rabbid Peach is my favorite, and I love her so much because she's just all on her phone. She's like a little brat who's just on her phone all the time. But yeah, it's a very strange game, and apparently this team is going to make a next Rayman game. So
interesting crossover.
Yep.
It's giving Kingdom Hearts a little bit.
I can see it. Yep.
That's
very weird. Very weird game. Speaking of weird games, Death Stranding 2 is just about to come out. We're less than, it's...
Never played the first one. I saw the trailers. It looked awesome. And then people are telling me it's really boring. You just tons of walking. It's a walking sim.
Yeah. Sorry. Things that trigger Jeff for 100, please, Alex. It is, but... If a good game developer makes a game where it's like when you think of walking in a video game, you think of pushing the stick in one direction, and it's like, no, you have to traverse this area with like rivers and like mountains, and you have to manage your stamina, and you have to manage how balanced you are, and you have to put your, sometimes you're carrying stuff and you have to put it down to do something, and there's like obstacles, and then eventually you get like
weird eldritch horrors come out from the void,
trucks and motorcycles, and you build bridges with other people, literally and figuratively. You connect up the network, you start everybody adds resources to a big bridge over a river, so now you can just drive your motorcycle over that with all your cargo on it.
So you're telling me I do need to play Death Stranding?
I think Death Stranding is really interesting, and I think that when it came out in 2019 or 2018, I thought it was an interesting game. I thought that when I replayed it in 2020 after I'd been locked in my house for 8 months, it was very interesting because it's about people who nobody leaves. They're all in bunkers because of this like apocalypse.
Creature,
and then your whole mission is to walk across the United States of America, and along the way you're delivering things to people and connecting people back up to the grid and to each other to basically rebuild civilization after everybody's been isolated in these pockets for so long. very interesting. I think it's well worth playing.
That is a very good synopsis of what that game is. Much better than what other people have told me.
Yep.
Which kind of scared me off of playing it for a while. Because when I saw the trailers, like, this looks fucking awesome.
It is.
I like everybody who's attached to this project. Anyway, so 2 is coming out.
Yes, 2 is coming out at the end of next month.
So are we a pizza delivery guy in this one? Are we like
there is a mission to deliver pizza in the first game.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're going on a world tour where they're basically showing it off because it like the thing is there's only been like 3 or 4 trailers for the game.
Are we going to be an Uber driver?
Sort of.
Post-apocalyptic, are we going to be
I don't know. It's a good question. It's
ferrying people about?
I have no idea. I'm trying actually to kind of stay like there's been some in-depth coverage and I'm trying to stay away from it because I want to experience it as it happens.
A surprise?
Yeah.
A surprise.
But anyway, unfortunately, the tour dates are the only place in the United States it's going to be is L.A. It's L.A., Sydney, Tokyo, Paris, London, Seoul, Taipei, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Riga, Sao Paulo, and Lucca in November.
Okay.
I mean, by the time, this is like a world tour, but the whole game comes out on like July 27th. So it's like a lot of this is like it's like a tour after the game has already been
summer
out.
release.
Yeah. Also, Hideo Kojima said that he would like to direct a movie. Shocking to absolutely nobody. Absolutely nobody. The man is the biggest fanboy of movies and films and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
He did, though, say that he needs to finish his next game first, which is supposedly 5 or 6 years away. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but that gives him time to like look at scripts and stuff. So start sending your scripts to Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, yep. He also had a really interesting thing where he said he was thinking about where he's thinking about if he dies, he was thinking about his own mortality.
Sure.
He said he put like a bunch of his Blue Sky ideas on a USB drive to give to his team after his death so that hopefully some of his game ideas can live on into the future. Anywho, retraction from story before. Sorry, my brain is muddled. Jade Raymond is not going to the Oxenfree studio because I just pulled up this headline, and that is actually Carrie Patel from Obsidian, who is one of the ones behind Avowed and a bunch of the Obsidian games, Outer Worlds and stuff like that.
Sure.
She is leaving to go to Obsidian or to Netflix.
Gotcha.
Oxenfree. Night School is the name of the company that makes Oxenfree.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. Ooh, we're low on time.
I need to finish Oxenfree too. I finished the first one.
Avowed is having a bunch of big updates. Speaking of Avowed, May 2025 May. There's some new power attacks, crafting materials, new unique gear. Summer's going to have a cooking and crafting update.
Gonna get the grill out.
Passive abilities, unique weapons and armor, and custom map markers. In fall, you're going to have new weapon types, ability to change presets, new character presets, etc., etc. All of this, I don't know. I brought this up because it was tangentially connected to the developer leaving the studio. But when I looked at it, it just made me real mad because it's like, well, I haven't played Avowed yet, and it was kind of on my list to play once they got it a little sorted out. Are you telling me that I've got to wait for fucking fall of this year for you to finally? Because like I look at this and it's like, oh, they're putting cooking and crafting is being expanded during the summer. Why would I play the game before that?
Yeah.
Like if you're doing enhancements to the way the combat works, you're adding in new weapon types. Why would I want to play the early access version of a fucking RPG?
You say that, but I mean, didn't we both play the shit out of Hades and Hades 2?
I played a lot of Hades, but then I stopped myself until 1.0 came out. I played Hades when it was originally in early access, and every time I fall down the Hades too well, I stop myself about 4 hours in and go, nope, wait, you're going to have to start over again when 1.0 comes out. And it's different because this isn't in early access. This is a fully on released game.
Oh, okay.
And I'm tired of games that keep getting all this stuff added in. I don't know. Avowed felt like it was kind of 85% done when I played it on release. Yeah. And so the idea of having to wait a year to play any new game that comes out to make sure that it actually has all the stuff that people want to put in it. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird question, and I have very ambiguous feelings about it.
There's a point of, this is the base game, and then we're adding these things to keep people engaged.
Yes.
You know, as far as like what we're adding doesn't really change the actual gameplay. It's just a supplemental thing that's more fun, or maybe like a DLC, or like, you know what I mean? It's like there's a difference between, you know, they just need to do a gajillion patches because it wasn't ready, versus we're doing this to keep people engaged, you know? But in your mind, you're like, well, it's not done cooking yet. I want to wait until everything is released to play. I mean, I guess it just depends on how you want to experience it, you know?
I guess it's just for most of my life, this wasn't a thing you had to worry about.
Sure.
Was games getting major features added on a year after they've been released, right?
I mean, I'm sure there are some games that we played when we were younger that probably would have benefited.
Oh, sure.
From this sort of approach.
Yeah.
That they never were able to get it. Anyways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're out of time, but last, one more story before we jump out here. Tessa, I got this one just for you.
Oh.
Baldur's Gate 3, they announced a bunch of little figurines for it.
I think I've seen those even before. People got them and they were bad.
So Hasbro put out these renders of these little figures and people pre-ordered them and then they got shipped and they look like total and complete balls.
So bad.
Like so bad.
Oh no, Shadowheart, no.
Shadowheart,
baby.
Shadowheart looks like that when that lady tried to fix that Jesus picture.
Oh, she also kind of looks a little bit like Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, she got a unibrow going. This is, and her arm looks melted to her chest. And Gale, and oh no. Oh God, these are so bad.
They're real bad, and they're so bad that they're offering refunds.
You think? Okay, what does the actual like render, like what they thought they were selling versus what people got?
It's kind of hard to see, but this was what the render was. So.
Can you like control zoom or whatever? Can you like use your mouse and zoom in on that image? I'm curious to see what they claimed they were doing versus.
It's. Let's just say, oh God, this is a really low resolution picture, but like it's you could see even from afar that like, you know, they had like they had faces.
Yeah.
Like their faces weren't just a blob of garbage.
Yeah.
They had actual expressions and shit.
Scroll up to Karlach. What's going on with her? Okay, sorry. I was making sure she had both of her arms there.
But yeah, it's so bad.
Oh,
it's
no.
So bad. And people are like, people are used to the fact that it was this company called WizKids that did this, and that they put out pretty shoddy merchandise.
Oof.
But even WizKids is like, no, these were below even what we would charge money for. So
those are very, very bad.
Which I think that part of it was that they were.
No, it looks.
What is wrong with Will's face?
That's not Will. That's Gale.
Or Gale, sorry.
Yeah, his nose is like mushed down for one.
Yep. Poor Shadowheart.
They look like they were put in the microwave for a little while.
I think that these were probably hand painted on an assembly line overseas, and that I think that whoever was doing them was just like, who gives a fuck? Like it
was.
Because whatever this is,
it's bad.
It's bad. It's bad.
God.
Like you could do way better going on Etsy or 3D printing, or there's a lot of ways to get some Baldur's Gate merch, but that ain't one of them.
That was so bad, Jeff.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we've got some trailers to watch. So stick around, and we will see you in just a minute. And we're back. And it's time for part 3. And that means trailers. Time for the trailers.
Hop on the trailers. Let's have a trailer convoy.
Yep. We got a lot of trailers. Our first trailer this week comes from
Intense Violence, Mild Gore,
Helldivers 2, which is currently having a big event called the Heart of Democracy. So one of the alien species in Helldivers 2, the Illuminate, has invaded Super Earth.
Not Super Earth.
Super Earth being the capital of the Helldivers. And this has introduced a whole new thing where you're fighting inside of cities. You've got like a collateral damage of buildings. You've got like citizens that are screaming and running for their lives.
I see that.
And the Helldivers are here to fight back. There's a bunch of new Illuminate, which is the faction there. Like new
I've
units.
never played Helldivers. I don't know.
It's basically Starship Troopers, but a multiplayer online game where the Helldivers are these like space marines that get dropped on a planet. You're in like a squad, and then you're trying to kill people. You're calling in.
Wait, are we killing people or aliens?
You're killing aliens. There are 3 alien factions. There's Terminators. There's basically bugs like from Starship Troopers, and there's the Illuminate, which are these kind of weird like space elf like.
Do you mean like Terminators like from the movie Terminator, or they're just called Terminators and they're an alien race, just called Terminators?
Well, they have their own name, but they're basically big cyborg, or they're basically big robot killing machines. They look like Terminators, but
gotcha.
But yeah, the Illuminate have been doing some stuff, and now they've invaded Super Earth, and there's a bunch of new stratagems, there's a bunch of new stuff, and now, so what happens in Helldivers is that there'll be a planet, and there'll be like an online thing where people have to do objectives, and every objective they do on a planet ups like a meter, and then they'll conquer that planet, or they'll drive off like an attack. So it's this very meta narrative thing, and so this is the first time that we've ever seen one of these threats reach Super Earth, which is the like kind of, again, Starship Troopers-esque like parody of Earth, where they're like, for democracy. Like they call it managed democracy because it's kind of like a authoritarian fascist state.
That's not relatable at all.
So yeah, they actually put out a little thing where they show some new
abilities and whatnots.
Yeah, classes of like enemies that you're going to be fighting, and they kind of go over the whole thing. The big thing is that all of the previous things were on like desolate planets, jungle worlds and desert worlds and things. This is in cities, which is like a new kind of biome.
Okay.
I get real big Earth Defense Force vibes off of this.
Okay.
Fighting with a bunch of people on city streets yelling goofy slogans while shooting down aliens is a real Earth Defense Force kind of thing.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah. I think it's amazing that even after a year that they've managed to keep this kind of like narrative going that makes their community feel really tight-knit, because they're like, yeah, we managed to kick the bugs off of Proxima 4. Woo! Like, and it looks great. Like, I think it looks really good. I don't know. You've never played Helldivers 2.
It looks cool. It looks fun.
Yeah. It's They've got these like planet, or these like giant turrets that you could shoot at the motherships.
Holy
and, like,
shit!
Bring them down and stuff.
Let's go.
There were like missions in some of the previous ones where you were sending.
Did I see earlier a walking eye?
Yeah, it's like a big like Strider,
stilty boy.
Yeah, kind of like what the Half-Life 2 guys sort of. Yeah,
he's also making me think of like Johnny Quest, just a freaking walking eye.
Yep.
New squids to fry.
New squids. Yeah, they've even got like these. They got these Leviathans that are like the things in Avengers that kind of just wave through the air, busting up buildings and dropping stuff.
Like the ships that are almost alive.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing is great. Like, it's what a wonderful free. I mean, all this is free. This is just a free update.
Really?
As part of their narrative.
That's cool.
And they have like a narrative director who's like a guy that plans out all of these things, and then they build in all of the different assets that they need. And
it looks nice.
Yeah, it looks great. It makes me almost want to go play Helldivers, except that then I have to play with other people, and I don't want that.
Right,
then they yell at me for
flash
doing
mob.
Stuff. Yeah, it's like a bunch of Illuminate that are all stuck together.
It's like a flash mob? Are they all going to dance?
God, I wish. Like giant, like brutes.
Oh, yeah. It's like a little rat king, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's out now. Let's see. We also got, speaking of PlayStation, we've seen a lot of this happening recently, but Hellblade Saga, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is coming to the PS5.
Ooh, I like Senua. I like Senua's Sacrifice. I got stuck on it, but yeah.
Microsoft has putting a lot of their Xbox only games on PlayStation, including the Indiana Jones game that just came out. There's been a few other ones. And so this is the latest one where they're doing a bunch of upgrades to it to make it run well on PS5 Pro, as well as the base PS5. And then all those updates are also coming to the game itself. So
I need to try playing that first game again.
Yeah.
I got stuck on this portion pretty early on.
It's a little tricky. That game can be a little tricky. I like that the game lies to you, though.
No spoilers, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, no, it's that thing at the beginning where the game basically tries to tell you if you die too many times, you'll be overtaken by the curse, and you'll just be game over. And like, that's not a thing. You could die as many times as you want to.
Damn it, Jeff! Again, no spoilers.
Well, no, I think that keeps some people from playing the game because they're like, if I do too badly at it, I'm gonna have to start over at some point. It's like, nah, you don't gotta. But yeah, I don't think we have a direct release date, but it's coming pretty soon. Summer, yeah, summer this year. So. Let's see. From there, we got a real brief teaser for Onimusha 2.
Yeah.
The official Magoichi Saiga trailers. This is one of the buddies that you get. Strangely, this is the guy that Matt and I were best friends with because we gave him you give gifts to people in this game, and
Aww.
then they help you out if you give gifts. This guy's he's like a shooty boy.
Yeah.
He's got like guns and cannons and stuff like that. So.
Onimusha, where gift giving is the love language.
It's so weird because I never really played Onimusha 2, and then we started playing it and I was like, what is all this, like you have to give somebody the right thing that they want and then they help you later on, and I'm like, all right. But yeah, that's out right now.
Gotta butter them up a little bit first.
By the time you hear this, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, we'll have some dojos up for it.
It's like when I come over and Jeff has a coffee drink for me before we record.
Yes.
It's like, Tess, for in service of your time, here's caffeine.
Yes.
I'd be like, thank you, sir. I accept this.
Let's see. In other samurai action news, we got a new trailer for Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles 2. This is the game that's it's basically one of those anime games where it just follows the story.
Yeah.
And so this particular trailer is showing off the Swordsmith Village arc.
So intense.
Which is kind of interesting. I think this one is doing Mugen Train, and then Swordsmith Village, and then I forget, maybe some of the Hashira training arc. I don't know. I don't remember every single thing that's in here, but it's interesting that they've got this kind of game version of this. I don't know. I love Demon Slayer.
I have watched a little bit of it. I haven't watched all of it, so I'm...
You're seeing a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm like, who's this? What is going on? Yeah, I need to. Again, it's another thing on my list to watch or play.
Yeah. The first game I think went all the way through the Entertainment District arc, or that might have been DLC. But yeah, this one has what's her face, the Love Hashira and the Mist Hashira, and a bunch of other people. I don't know. The second half of this season was just like one boss fight. It was like 12-episode boss fight or something. Because it's like, oh, we got the upper hand. Oh no, they have the upper hand. Oh no, we have the upper hand. Oh no, who
has hands that are upper? I don't know anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how well though this translates to 3D CG.
Yeah, this looks. Yeah.
Part of me wonders, because I know that the anime itself uses a lot of 3D CG for backgrounds and some of the effects and stuff. Yeah. I'm wondering how much they're able to just lift directly into it. But,
for assets. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah. This is a great arc. I can't wait to see where it ends. Okay. Let's see. August 5th is when that's coming out.
2025.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we got a 6-minute primer for Raidao Remastered.
The Principles of Raidao.
This was the original. This was announced for the Switch 2, but it is coming to other systems as well. This is like a Devil Summoner game.
Okay.
It kind of takes place in kind of old.
Do you have a cat following you?
Edo, Japan. It might be one of the demons because you can summon the demons, and then they'll help you with different things. It's like your character is an investigator who's also a devil summoner.
Okay. Wait, Constantine?
Sort of. I don't know what he's got that weird like Edo period cop outfit with like a cape or something.
He doesn't have a cat. He has a black cat.
Yep.
I'm on board. Let's go.
Put a cat in it. Tessa's on board.
It's a detective, and we have a cat, and we've got a slick uniform. Let's go.
And the pointiest sideburns in the world.
Some dope sideburns.
I like the idea though that like you can summon the demons because it's also an investigative game. So they show like, oh, I'm talking to this person, and they're really like hot-headed. Yeah. And so I can summon Jack Frost and then make him cast ice on them, and it'll cool down their attitude.
I like it.
Because the people can't see the demons. Also, it looks like when you do the actual like combat in the game that it's a third person, or it's like a little arena.
There's Frost. He's familiar. Wait, it's an Atlas game?
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the. So this is part of the Devil Summoner series, which Persona is a spin-off of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you've got
I
all
was
the.
like, I recognize that little guy.
Yeah, if you played Persona, then like a lot of these creatures will be pretty familiar.
Yeah.
They also kind of go over in this the different.
Now I feel like I've fallen into the meat dimension.
Some of the different like combining them, you know, like you do in Persona, where we can level them up and then you can go and combine them into to new demons.
I see you, game.
Yep. I mean, you know, all the spell names and everything are basically exactly what they are in that. So, but yeah, and this is a remaster of an old game. Oh yeah. And this just kind of, you know, it's like 6 minutes where they just kind of go over. It's funny because I'm like, oh, I know how all this stuff works.
Little kitty cat. There's a little black cat in a little samurai costume.
Nico Shogun.
Oh, Nico Shogun. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Yeah, I don't know. This, like I said, it's coming out for the Switch too, but it's also coming out on most of the modern consoles as well. So
okay, yeah, I'd probably play that.
Good to see. Also, the video is like hosted by a guy that is obviously Rasputin.
Yeah, I was about to say, why does this guy look like Rasputin?
He talks in the trailer with like a thick accent.
Oh my god.
So yeah, June 19th, right around the corner.
Okay.
PS5, PS4, and Switch 2. So. Let's see. From there, we got a teaser for this game called Chrono Odyssey.
Okay.
Which is an interesting kind of medieval.
Not Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger.
At first, I think I put it on the game or put it on the list because I thought it might have something to do with that. No, it does not.
I've been lied to.
It's a weird medieval fantasy game, and apparently it's an MMO.
Okay.
But then I really like the kind of.
Ooh.
It's got this very weird art style where you get a lot of these like. Geometric patterns and stuff. These kind of almost like they kind of look semi-future. You know what they look like is they kind of look like anti-real stuff, but out of like stone or wood or something like that. These very kind of like spiral patterns. I feel like we're seeing this a lot as ways to make kind of.
It looks gorgeous.
Eldritch.
Yeah, creepy stuff.
Kind of cosmic horror mixed with like medieval fantasy.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. It looks cool.
And I don't know, because it's also this entire trailer, you look at it, it's like an MMO though. And I'm like, is it though? I don't know if it's just one of those weird third person action MMO games, but
it looks pretty. I like it.
Everything I'm seeing looks really good.
Yeah.
Characters look really good. And the monsters
look really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I need to know more about this one. So
yeah, same. It looks dope as hell.
Yeah. Let's see. After that, we got a 2-minute trailer on Dune Awakening, their MMO, speaking of MMOs, about a very specific, this was like a class trailer for a class called the Trooper.
Okay.
Where in this game, you're going to be picking a specific kind of subclasses, and this is just like a combat class. So they talk about,
again, this looks gorgeous,
how they're able to use like specific weapons and specific techniques in order to be able to like catch people in like force bubbles and grapple between places and use heavy weapons.
And where is this in the world of Dune?
It's an interesting thing. It's got more in common with the Villeneuve movies than with anything else. But it's basically like a big like. It's an MMO survival game where everybody goes to Arrakis and then you like build your own base and you make like you swear yourself to a faction and then you like ally with other players in order to make guilds to keep people off of your territory while you're harvesting the spice and stuff. I'm a canon queen for Dune, so like I don't like it.
I know. I was gonna say, I was like, I know you're big into Dune. That's why I'm like, well, where is this in the whole?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. You don't want to make a game that's so. I mean, the books are all about what's happening inside of people's heads. There's no way to make a video game that's all about how you're thinking correctly to become the fucking... Also, it wouldn't make sense if you made a video game where everybody could choose Kwisatz Haderach as their class type, and then you're just like, there can't be a bunch of these guys running around.
Yeah.
It looks good, though. They did show some of the other classes, and I'm like, I want to be a Mentat, or like... There's another one that was like, I don't know, just like a scribe or something. I'm like, I don't know. Getting big Star Wars Galaxies vibes.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
I see that.
It's strange. It's very strange.
Okay.
I'm really on the fence, and I'm gonna have to take a look at it at some point. But I don't know.
Maybe you'll really like it.
Maybe I will. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong.
Do you?
Yes. No, because at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, it means there's a fun ass video game based on one of my favorite things that I can play.
Yay.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and be so stubborn. It's fun, but I hate it.
I begrudgingly acquiesce.
June 10th is coming to the PC.
Cool. Lots of stuff coming out this summer, huh?
Yep. Let's see. Speaking of outer space stuff, we got Fortnite's got some more Star Wars stuff.
This is the way.
The Mandalorian Rising. They got a bunch of Mandalorian skins and weapons and stuff that you can use in their new mode. So if you want to live that Mandalorian life.
Does he also have AI voice function?
I don't think so. I think these are just like player skins and stuff. So
that is the direction.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I don't want to know what kind of racist stuff the Mandalorian has to say about Jedis or whatever.
For real.
The weirder one, though, because we got two of these. The weirder one for Fortnite, though, is we got a full trailer for the Darth Jar Jar.
What? What?
So, yeah, I'm surprised at how many people have never heard of this, but there was a thing that happened.
What?
There was a fan thing that came up on the internet at a certain point that was like, what if Jar Jar Binks is the other Sith Lord that is secretly manipulating everything from behind the scenes?
Oh, sweet Christ.
And now Fortnite has made that into an actual skin of Jar Jar Binks in a Palpatine cloak with a red lightsaber shooting fucking lightning at people.
Oh, wowie, wow.
And I'm so glad to be able to show everybody this because apparently y'all missed this one. So.
Yeah, that one just flew under the radar for me. Sweet Christ on a cracker.
Yeah. Darth Jar, you never got the Darth Jar Jar.
I know. I mean, maybe I saw a meme at some point in passing and I was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah.
The way that his goofy, like, stock eyeballs hold up the Sith Lord's cloak is disconcerting.
Just chef's kiss.
Apparently, also, he's really hard to get. Like, you have to get, like, a lot of points and a lot of progression to unlock
I don't
him.
doubt it.
But
I mean... Are they also going to do like a god form Shaggy now? Like, what are we doing?
Oh, Ultra Instinct Shaggy? Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah.
On Fortnite?
I don't know if they've done it in Fortnite.
Okay.
I don't know if it's been like fully canonized anywhere. People really wanted it to be one of the Mortal Kombat DLCs at one point. Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
I love it.
You know where it was? It was in Multiverses. Because he was a playable character in Multiverses.
Okay. I feel like it was done somewhere.
I don't know if it was done in Fortnite. It might have been, but I don't know. Let's see. From there, speaking of goofy, weird shit, we got the and also Star Wars related shit because you can't hear this, but this is Duel of the Fates. There's a VR game coming out called Maestro, where you basically use your hands to conduct like an orchestra in a kind of rhythm heaven.
I like that. I like rhythm
style
games.
DJ Hero kind of thing where you're pointing and you're making hand gestures in time with like.
Let's Beat Saber this thing.
Yeah, basically kind of a Beat Saber. Meets Rhythm Heaven type of thing.
Into it.
This one's pretty epic just because this is Duel of the Fates from episode 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he's got the little lightsaber conductor baton.
Into it. I like a good rhythm game.
Yeah. It's on PSVR 2 as well as MetaQuest, I believe. I think it's already out on MetaQuest, but it's coming to PSVR 2. So, yeah, it's a real weird one. Real strange one.
Dig it.
Yep. Let's see. In other VR news, this is very difficult. They made this super weird retro thing. So there's a game called Starship Home that came out that I've never heard of. That's pretty fun.
Immediately looking at this, I'm like, what PBS nonsense is this?
It's this is done in a super retro style where they've got like a big retro filter over everything. I actually went and looked at gameplay because this is out right now on the MetaQuest. It's a very interesting game because it's a mixed reality game where you're in, like, it uses the camera to show you your room.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get a box from an alien and you start placing like windows on your room. But then when you look through, you can see like spaceship. So it's like you're making your room
trippy
into a spaceship.
This seems like the kind of game you drop acid before playing.
That's this trailer. When you look at the actual game, none of this like weird tie-dye, like super bloomy stuff is actually in the game.
What?
But you go to different planets and you apparently are like getting plants from them and then like cultivating them inside of your little area. Like this is what the actual game looks like.
Okay.
So like this is like this streamer's room.
Okay.
And then they put these various objects in there that make it look like you're looking out of your room.
I feel like people are just going to be playing this in VR and just knocking shit over in their room.
Well, no, because like this is the actual room itself is through the camera. It's passing through the camera, so you can literally see the room around you.
Yeah, I understand pass-through mode, but yeah, I still feel like it's going to...
Yeah.
Someone's going to accidentally knock over some shit.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess the MetaQuest has that thing where you map the room, right? And then it starts doing stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting game. It's an interesting idea for like, we haven't had I don't feel like as many of these like mixed games.
AR stuff.
Yeah. Put your own.
Augmented reality.
Your own stuff in
VR,
there.
AR.
So interesting stuff. Let's see. We got the announcement trailer for Bus Flipper Simulator.
Excuse me?
Yeah. You wanted to flip a bus? And I don't mean like Evel Knievel style. I mean like...
turn it into like a home?
Like you take a broken down bus and then it's basically you do House Flipper.
That is fun. I like that.
Yep.
I have played House Flipper.
Where you got to clear out all the crap, but you got to replace all the stuff, and then you got to tear it down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like,
that's fun.
Apparently, one of the genres that we've neglected all these years was flipping.
Yeah, flipping stuff.
Everyone wants to flip it.
I didn't miss out on it. I was the child of an 80s and 90s house flipping power couple. I lived in like something like 13 different houses before college. So every time I say I've lived in X amount of houses before a certain time period in my life, they're like, "What are you, like a military brat?" I'm like, "Nope.
Yep.
My parents just flipped houses."
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks a lot. I mean, it looks like House Flipper.
Oh yeah.
But just like with a bus or a camper or something. So I don't know. The question that I have, there's a demo out for it, which I haven't played yet, but the question that I have is more about like, do you then get to drive around and do something, or is it just flip it and then sell it?
I don't know. I feel like, yeah, you flip it and like, are like, okay, time to go on vacation, I guess.
I don't know. Cause like I watch the dumb tiny home car conversion stuff on YouTube.
Sure.
But I want there to be something else to do with it, and not just like, well, that's very pretty. On to the next one.
Yeah, you're like, I want to drive it.
Yeah,
go places.
So
that's still seems fun though. Oh, this one has mild language.
Yeah, we got the launch trailer for Roadcraft. So if flipping buses isn't good enough for you, Roadcraft is part of the genre of games where you're just doing really weirdly mundane stuff. In this case, you're just building roads. Like you're literally like clearing out foliage, and it's all like driving heavy machinery. You're bringing
something I couldn't do in real life because I would have an asthma attack.
Yes.
Anytime I'm on a road trip and they have freshly paved the roads.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I have that rubber latex allergy and rubber cement.
Yep.
It's like my lungs just want to seize.
Well, hey, now you can.
I can do it.
You can do it. You can do it virtually.
Simulate it.
Yeah, you can drag along a section. You can spread down the gravel. You can tamp it down. You can go over it with. Yeah, I don't know. These are the sorts of games where it's like I thought last week about maybe putting this one on the schedule, and then like. I was like, I don't know if anybody wants to actually. I don't know if any of the people that I record with would have any interest at all in this kind of doing the heavy machinery.
I think we just sit and talk about something else, like we just watch the game, we play the game, and we're just like, so how's your week been?
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I mean, got good scores for what it is. It reminds me of like Farm Simulator, where it's like, hey, you ever wanted to drive a tractor and plant a bunch of sorghum? And I'm like, no. Are there ninjas trying to get my sorghum that I have to shoot with a gun? And they're like, no.
Why would that be happening?
You just got to get up at the crack of dawn and make sure that your fields get rotated properly. I'm like, God, why? Why would I want to do that? Where's Darth Jar Jar, for God's sake? Anyway, looks good.
Yeah.
If that's what you're into. I'm glad that there are games out there. Speaking of games that I probably will never play, we got the launch trailer for a VR game called Tunnels.
Okay.
That's all about crawling around through
a claustrophobic horror.
claustrophobic tunnels.
Immersive solo adventure.
And then also you could play it as multiplayer.
Free to play.
Even though there's no bodies. There's just
Multiplayer.
And then also there's like some kind of monsters that are in the tunnels with you.
Oh no!
As somebody who is
nope,
pretty not ridiculously claustrophobic, but kind like I don't want to crawl around in tunnels that you can't stand up in.
I'm not claustrophobic, but the giant monsters, I don't know, it's just giving the
crab hands.
The Descent is a really good movie.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen The Descent, we'll watch it.
I've never seen The Descent.
Jeff, watch it.
Well, hey, I will. I'll put it on the list.
It's very good.
I'll put it on the list.
It is a pretty awesome feminist horror film.
Yeah. It's out now on the MetaQuest.
Tunnels.
Definitely not. No, not for me. I just don't. I also don't want to. I don't want to play a game where I have to crawl around my room on the floor on my hands and knees.
You actually have to
Oh, I don't actually know. But even if I could play from my chair, it would still be
weird.
You being enclosed. I don't know. It would just mess me up.
Yeah. No.
On the other hand, I like a good ghost game.
Yeah, I like a spooky.
We got the release date trailer for Ghost Frequency, which, if I am reading it correctly, looks an awful lot like
stabbed. We just got stabbed.
Phasmophobia.
Sure.
Like where you're using the stuff, but it looks like it might be. I need to check this. It looks like it's like a single player narrative version of Phasmophobia as opposed to like a multiplayer thing, which is good because I don't want to play Phasmophobia. It's too scary. I get too scared of Phasmophobia. Whereas this one's got a real Jeff the Killer grinning ghost guy that's chasing you around.
No. No.
All up in your grill.
With their grill.
There's also a difference between playing a game like this in VR and not playing it in VR.
Yeah.
Where I can play a game like this not in VR, but I got too scared of the spiders in the beginning of Skyrim to keep playing the game because when I was in VR, I was like,
Yeah, I can't. I have a hard time with horror VR games.
Yep.
I really struggle. I still try and I have fun, but boy howdy.
Yep.
It definitely hits different.
This will actually be out May 26th on Steam. Okay. So, by the time you hear this, it's probably already out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, in less spooky and more interesting news, we got the announcement last week for a spin-off of Lost in Random. So Lost in Random was a game where you had a little dice person, and you would roll the dice, and it was
oh, wait, I do think I recall
this kind of semi Tim Burton-esque world.
Yeah.
So this is a spin-off where you play as the evil queen from that world, and it's like a Hades-style run-based roguelike, kind of a top-down action roguelike.
Okay.
Which is good. I don't know how Lost in Random actually sold, but I think this looks pretty good. I don't know, a little bit more bite-sized.
Didn't the first one, the one that it spun off from, there was twins, right? Like a brother and a sister or something. And I think the brother or sister gets kidnapped and then they have to go anyways, whatever.
Maybe.
It's been a while back, but it looked cool.
Yeah. June 17th, though. Kind of came out of nowhere. It's like Lost in Random, not something I'd heard of in quite a while. I hope that it's the sort of thing where, I don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel. I don't know what happened to the queen in that game, so I don't know if this is an origin story for their evil queen or something else, but this looks good. I mean, I like a good top-down roguelike, so.
I've warmed up to him.
Let's see, another weirdo stuff. We had the launch trailer for a game called Frog Legs. I can't really tell what this is. Because
is this by the same people as Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion?
I don't believe so, but it's definitely in the same genre where it's like you start out as playing like Frogger.
Okay.
And then
it looks cute.
Like, but also it's got one of these like you're in an actual house.
And it's like Home Buddy.
And then like the frogs are there's also like a first person shooting frogs with a machine gun. It's like a weird, I can't tell exactly what it is. I think it's one of these like meta horror games where you're playing the game, but then the game,
it's quote unquote hopping genres.
Yes.
It's riveting.
It's riveting. They have all these fake
totally awesome
fake magazine endorsements.
Unforgettable.
Yes.
Yikes. Love it.
It seems interesting. It's out right now. I'm not sure.
Holy frog.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I kind of put it on the list and I wasn't entirely sure.
Looks fun. Looks silly and crazy.
Looks very weird.
I like weird.
Let's see. Speaking of weird looking stuff.
Jumping
jazz cats.
Jumping
jazz cats.
What the fuck is going on? It's just like a cacophony of cats just hippity hopping around causing mayhem.
So it's a game where you kind of got like a solo, it's like kind of a puzzle trial game where you've got to do a bunch of like kind of platforming and stuff, and then it's mainly an online like party game,
or like Fall Guys or something.
Yeah, something like that, where you're competing against a whole bunch of other people trying to see who can do these tasks. But then everybody is playing as a cat, and they're very customizable. You can put all kinds of different stuff on them.
Cats, you say?
Yep.
Well, guess I got to play this game now.
Yeah. I like the fact that it seemed like in that one little snippet that somebody put down like a cucumber, that like when that happens, your character can't get past it because they're interacting with it. It's like a blocker or whatever. It's got a very kind of fun art style, and it's also got a lot of nice music to it. So, yep, out now.
Outright Meow?
Outright Meow.
Yeah.
So,
meow.
Yep. From Le Catnip Collective. We also got, speaking of cute animals, The Wandering Village. We got a launch date trailer for that on PS4, PS5. This is a game.
Cool animation
where you're basically doing like a city simulator that is on the back of a giant dinosaur that is walking across the world.
That's cool.
You manage the village, and it's all on the back of this giant, very slow, six-legged kind of guy that's walking to and from various places. And you'll get like attacked by parasites or the giant dinosaur.
This is giving a little bit of Nausicaä in the Valley of the Wind.
Oh yeah, the character models look very kind of Ghibli-esque.
Yeah,
a little Ghibli. So yeah, you've got to kind of
this looks a bit Ghibli.
You gotta kind of manage yourself. I don't know. This was always an interesting one. I've never played it before. I think it's already out on PC, but coming to PS5, PS4, July 17th. Very pretty.
Yeah, looks cool.
I like the idea of being able to zoom all the way into the village and then all the way out to seeing the giant, monster walking across the world.
Earth dino, I guess. It's,
kind of a dinosaur, kind of like a dragonsaur.
Something.
Yep.
Some sort of earth golem.
Speaking of nice animation, we got the launch trailer for Monster Train 2. Monster Train 2 came out.
Monster Train. Yes, we played that a long time ago.
Was it you and I that played that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you tricked me into a deck building video game, which I'm not super partial to the deck games, but whatever.
This is a good one, though. This is a good deck builder, especially because if it's anything like the first one, it allows you to kind of break the game more easily. This one is obviously like, it's like more polished than the first one, a little fancier, new factions and stuff. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. It's on Xbox Game Pass, so it's available.
It's like,
but
my approach is like, Jeff, if I'm going to play a card game, I'll play an actual freaking card game. What is this card game and a video game nonsense?
I don't know. There's some good card video games.
I know. I liked Inscription too. So that one was fun.
I gotta get you on that Sunderfolk train. Okay. I'll tell you about that later.
Sounds good.
And then I have no real transition, but we got a trailer for Stellar Blade is crossing over with a popular Korean gacha game called Nikkei.
Okay. Whoa.
That is like a phone game where you kind of hide behind cover and shoot people, but apparently they're adding in a level in Stellar Blade where you get to do this. I'm a big fan of. I actually thought Stellar Blade was a fun game, even though it wasn't. I mean, it was like the main.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, it was kind of like a Nier Automata style game where you played as like a lady.
Okay.
Like a lady kind of cyborg that was fighting these guys. The story wasn't as good as Nier Automata, but
sure.
And I spent a long time trying to get just pants for this lady because she's got a lot of very sexy costumes, but
just let them wear pants.
She's got a lot of skin tight suits with big holes over her thighs, and I just wanted to get her some pants. It looks like there's also
this is so much to ask. She just wants pants.
I finally found her some mom jeans, and I was like, finally, you're fighting monsters in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Quit wearing like wispy skirts made out of cyber materials. Like, I just want pants for God's sake. But I'm the only one. Everybody else was like, where are the more revealing outfits? And I'm like,
why aren't you wearing a mini skirt or hot pants?
Yeah. Anyway, big crossover with the Nikki franchise, June 11th, or Nikkei, Goddess of Victory.
Okay.
Looks like they're adding in some a boss fight and some different stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea what some of this stuff is, but
it looks fun and adorable.
Yep. I don't know. It was a fun game, and I liked it. I think it became a big controversy because they toned down some of the sexier costumes, and the community was like, censorship and Western
bring back the sexy back.
Right. And I was like, I want more pants, not fewer pants. Anyway, speaking of Stellar Blade, Shift Up has confirmed that they're getting a full sequel. So they're going to be making a full sequel to the game, which is good. Last year before, that game did gangbusters in a way that like nobody wasn't sure because it was like a very small developer.
Yeah,
and it came out of China, I believe. And
again, doesn't have to be huge, like.
Yep. Which makes you wonder if this small developer in 5 years can make a fun. It was like a 20 to 40 hour like action RPG.
Yeah.
What does it take Randy Pitchford 4 years and $250 million to make Borderlands, to make the exact same goddamn Borderlands game they've been making for years?
Yep.
Anyway, probably sometime before 2027 we'll be seeing that. So it's a little bit in the distance. Nintendo Switch Online added Killer Instinct Gold this week.
Oh.
This is the N64 version of Killer Instinct. They already had the Super Nintendo version, but now you can play both versions.
Damn. That takes me back.
Bringing back memories.
Yeah, a little bit.
I remember playing. I got good at Killer Instinct in the arcade, but then I gave it up. I was more of a Mortal Kombat guy. So
I was definitely more Marvel versus Capcom.
There you go. I can't play those. They're too fast for me. Let's see. We got some updates to the Xbox Game Pass for May of 2025. Wave 2, Monster Train 2, Creatures of Ava, which is available now. I recommend everybody go play that. It was Amanda and I played the first like 30 or 40 minutes of it. I never got further into it, but I liked it. Hellblade 2 is coming back May 22nd. Stalker 2 is out now. Tales of Kenzera Zao, which I liked even though that company went out of business. Division 2, May 27th. To a T, which is from the Katamari Damacy guy.
Oh, I love Katamari Damacy.
Weird game where a character is in a T pose and they're doing all their stuff. Got a lot of music. Coming out May 28th. Metaphor ReFantazio, which I think is the big one for people who didn't play. That was the Atlas's last RPG, the one with the guy with the heterochromia, and it was in this weird world where you're trying to run for president. It's like a popularity contest. Great game. I played it all the way to the end. It took me forever, but I managed to beat it. That's May 29th. Spray Paint Simulator, May 29th. Crypt Custodian, June 3rd. And Symphonia, June 3rd. So, yeah. Lots of stuff.
Coming out summer. This summer, it's going to be a hot one. Stay cool indoors, playing your video games.
They also just added an Activision Classics collection to Game Pass, which is a bunch of Atari 2600 games, along with a few things like
interesting
MechWarrior 2, Quest for Glory, Adventures of Willie Beamish.
Whoa, Willie Beamish! Sorry, that's my shit right there.
Yeah. The only downside to this is that it's based on this company that did this, and it's all like streaming. So none of it is downloaded and running on your on your system. It's all like Google Stadia or Xbox Cloud gaming, where it's like you press a button and it sends that signal to the server where the game is being played, and then it streams the result back to your screen. It works okay.
Yeah.
I've played this particular company's stuff before, and it works okay.
Okay.
But, it's on Game Pass, so it's not like you're being asked to shell out that much. I just wish they would do it.
Yeah. Willie Beamish was like, it was on PC, it was on Sega CD, and like a third console back in the day. I want to say it was like on 3 different consoles.
Like 3DO.
Yeah, and depending on what you had, like the graphics were varied a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird game. A boy and his pet frog, and his pet frog is abducted by a evil French woman who is opening a restaurant.
Yep. I remember. I played it with my buddy back when it came out.
I love that game.
Let's see. Closed 2 things at once.
No.
All right, that's all right. We got to zip through these last few.
Okay, what do we got?
8BitDO has a new controller that's come out. That's really interesting.
Okay.
It's a basically like a tournament style controller that you can remap.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of buttons.
The interesting thing about it is that it's all buttons. There are no sticks.
Oops, all buttons.
So like a lot of tournament fighting game people will replace the joystick with buttons because it's easier.
Precise?
Yeah, it's more precise. It's easier to react to. Yeah. This thing is also like very thin.
Break this damn thing.
It's super like, I don't know. It's very, very, very thin. It's just like, because it's one PCB board, it doesn't have to have any of the stuff for joysticks or anything like that. So anyway, interesting. Go check it out. Let's see. We got the news that Off the Grid, which is this battle royale game that Neil Blomkamp is involved with,
okay,
is going to be on Steam next month.
Cyberpunk Battle Royale.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a battle royale. We got a kind of cinematic teaser for it, but I don't know. It looks interesting. We don't know when exactly it's going to be out, but it should be some point next month. Like I said, so far, I don't know if they've done betas or anything for it, but the kind of cinematic reveal trailer was like a bunch of military people who have had their arms replaced and legs replaced by like robot stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's giving a bit of was that movie Elysium as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Quite a bit. Let's see. We also found out that Capcom teased their first crossover with Monster Hunter with the spray painted paw that looks like the Street Fighter 6 logo.
Aww.
So Street Fighter 6 DLC for Monster Hunter probably coming pretty soon, which is an interesting one.
Yeah. I love a good sort of mashup crossover, if you will.
Yeah.
Ever since I had the VHS of the Flintstones meet the Jetsons.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's fun times.
I'm getting a little tired of it because it seems to be the main thing.
Really? Okay.
That the industry is into. Deadpool and Wolverine, Jar Jar Binks and Fortnite. Like, here's Street Fightering your Monster Hunter. Does it make any sense? No. Last week, Overwatch got a bunch of Street Fighter skins.
Okay.
It's like, I didn't need Widowmaker to be Cammy. I didn't need the Widowmaker Cammy outfit. Widowmaker isn't a...
Do I not need it, though?
Well... Strangely, just coincidentally, that actually ties into one of our last stories. Apparently, people are unhappy with the butt size of
Excuse me?
the Cammy skin for Widowmaker.
Oh, is it? It's not too big, too small?
Too small.
She don't got that by donk.
This is weird for 2 reasons. One, it's because every woman in Marvel Rivals has like a big fat behind.
Big old dumper.
Yep. And then 2, this also just harkens back to, I don't believe I even have to talk about this, when Overwatch was getting ready to come out, and there was the Tracer Buttgate controversy where she had a win pose where she was turned around backwards, like sticking her butt out, and then they took it out because they thought it was, quote, too sexual.
A bit too much, maybe.
And then everybody was like, how dare you take the butts away. So it's nice to know that even in 2025, we're complaining about the size of women's butts in Overwatch.
I mean, really? Come on.
I don't know.
We need to start doing? We need to start like complaining about the size of men's cod pieces in these video games.
Oh no!
Oh, there are people. Oh, of course.
No! There was an update to.
Is there a cod piece gate?
No, but there has been frequent coverage of the size of the men's butts in Marvel Rivals as well.
Oh.
There was an update where they basically made all of the men's butts bigger and juicier.
Hell yeah!
And everybody was like, "Thank you, thank you." You know, we want butt. Everybody across the board needs to have a luscious behind. Okay, I don't want anybody with a flat butt. Like Wolverine's dumper needs to be nice and rotund.
Can we cue that up? Can I see the before and after?
Let's see. Let me see if I can find it real
trying
fast.
To get Jeff to look at Marvel men's behinds.
I've looked at it before. Marvel Rivals men's
booty, rocking everywhere.
Let's see. Let's see. Marvel is that cakes up every male character in the game. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So here is the Winter Soldier. Here is I forget who this is.
Before and after. Okay.
But there's Wolverine.
Oh.
There's Wolverine in his costume. There's
Just
Moon Knight.
Just a little bit.
Get a little bit more in there. You know, they were real flat before. They were real.
Very flat. Yeah, just
Star-Lord.
A little bit more. Okay.
Mr. Fantastic.
Looks about the same to me.
Really? I don't know. Maybe it's just the lighting.
Oh wait, I see now. Okay. They're doing it kind of subtle. They're not like shabam. It's just like, yeah, they got a little.
I mean, it's you know, not comical, but like, you know, let's get these butts in there.
Pop that booty bit.
Yeah, pop it up in there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and then let's just wrap it up with one more. This is a long and storied history. The internet has a long and storied history of whenever a Grand Theft Auto trailer comes out, of redoing it in old Grand Theft Auto. So a YouTuber named Foosmoke basically made the latest Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, but in
the old
San Andreas.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
I don't know if you've been watching the new Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, I saw. You showed me the trailer for the newest one. Oh my God, his little hand.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There's parts of this where they literally have to just like be like photoshopping stuff into people's hands because there was just no way on this whole thing to
have that
have that be a thing. So
like that.
Yeah, like that. I don't know. It's pretty funny. This is the second week in a row.
Delightful.
Where we've had this same thing. I think the last one was somebody made one with Trevor and Michael from GTA 5 as Lucia and what's his face from the GTA 6. So
yeah. You showed me the trailer for this game. So yeah, seeing this done in the original sort of graphic style is very fun.
Yep. And that's our show.
That's it.
That's the podcast. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Tessa, before we wrap it up here, is there anything you'd like to tell the fine folks of RageSelect about where they can find you online?
Oh, yeah. I'm on Blue Sky under Tessa Morrison, all one word. Also on my Instagram, same thing, Tessa Morrison, all one word. Yeah, you can follow me in my cosplaying and fiber art shenanigans and chicanery.
Yep, do so. And hey, patreon.com/RageSelect is where you can go if you want to help us out. It does take a lot of time and effort to get all these stories together every week. So if you enjoy the podcast, you want to make sure it keeps going, yeah, come help us out. It's $5 a month, gets you access to the Discord server as well as all of the bonus videos that there are to watch. Currently, I think that's it. I think the coffee. I think it happened the same way.
What?
By the end, the coffee is wearing off. I need more. I just need to.
If anything, it's the right amount because it waited till the end.
No, I need more coffee. I'm gonna like drink 2 Red Bulls and a coffee next week.
Oh God.
I'm sure that'll be healthy for me.
So hard. It's like start having heart palpitations.
Look, as long as it keeps me away from just straight up doing cocaine during this show,
that's fair.
Then that's probably a good thing. Anyway. I'm not doing cocaine.
Don't do it, Jeff.
I'm not doing it. Bye, everybody.